crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
The crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com.
Strong read.
Matt, Josh.
It's incredible. So you were sitting here today, correct?
Yeah.
It's incredible how you have the volume lower than Connor Happer when it comes to things coming into your ear.
That is interesting.
That'd be irony. That's irony.
That is literally irony.
That's irony.
Well, I have amplification of sound elsewhere.
That's
but,
a good point.
You know,
but you would think that Connor would have a little bit low. Connor,
I never understand how
Connor-
loud
right.
it is.
dude,
It's all I hate.
Dude.
I'm like, oh my God.
like it. I have
cranked.
bursted a little bit in my hearing a bit because of sharing
Nobody needs
this
to hear it.
box. I mean,
Did you say bursted?
it was a bad.
I don't know. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's right. I don't know. I have to look it up.
It just kind of bursted.
It's just kind of weird.
bursted my
So you're saying
ears.
it bursted your eardrum?
Yeah. What would the
I
what
don't
would the
think that
other
Burst? I think it just burst your eardrum.
It just burst my
I think it
eardrum.
burst.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah. Which is
don't
a
do that.
very. Have you done that? Can you do that?
What?
Have you burst your eardrum?
Well, yeah. I mean, I still have an eardrum.
Yeah. My oldest doesn't.
Okay.
So
Oh.
but my youngest, it's weirdly shaped. So like he has no pain on planes.
Yeah.
No issue whatsoever.
So wow.
My
Very
hearing
interesting.
loss is one in which there is like a missing genetic trait that causes things to just drop off at certain pitches. Otherwise, I can hear fine in some situations. It's in conversational
So is it
talking.
a middle ear problem?
There will be, it's just like a drop off in volume that it just becomes muffled that I can't hear,
Oh, okay.
which is where my hearing loss comes.
Okay, got it.
My eyes are good. My eyes are still solid. I don't
Yeah.
think I've lost any sort of vision or
You're
anything
still
like
pretty
that
young.
over.
Yeah, I hope so.
But
Do you have family with eye
still pretty
issues?
young.
Yeah,
or-
so mom and dad both have had like not degenerative, but they've gone from like they were completely fine to like they need readers. My dad is
That's being older.
I know, but my
You're
dad
24.
my dad is at the point where he has to amplify his phone, you know, like the
happens to
text.
everybody.
Yeah, I know.
I had perfect eyesight my entire life.
But they didn't
till I
wear
turned-
glasses, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So no,
I
mean,
turned 47 and I had perfect eyesight up there. No problems. Turned 47 and all of a sudden I had to start getting
started going,
readers.
yeah.
Oh no.
And then
I have 9 more years. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, then I got the exchange procedure.
You're 38?
Yeah.
You look good.
how,
I did not.
how old did you think I was?
I thought you asked me, I thought you were 35.
I thought you were 34.
I think all you guys are younger because I knew you when you
Sure.
were younger. And
well, no one
I don't do the
ages when you
math.
know them at a certain
Right.
I
age.
think
yeah, I don't do the
I
math
I
right.
thought you were 33, 34.
No.
I did not know you were
Yeah, I
2
thought you
years
were like
away
35.
from 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look good, Mike. You look
Thank
healthy.
you.
You
I
got good
appreciate
skin.
it.
You know that? He's got, doesn't he? He's got good skin.
It's
I'm
just
still
titanium.
battling through the acne thing, which is really annoying for me. Like
I'm glad I didn't.
Like-
I mean, I have dry patches because of beard that
Yeah.
just dries out my entire
my
face.
my Dwayne the Rock Johnson facial moisturizer is not working.
There's a great line from Good Times from way back in the day
Yeah.
where they said, yeah, they gave us nappy hair. They didn't give us no acne. It's still one of the funniest lines that no one
Pretty good.
understands.
I'm telling you right now, it's like this. I try everything for this thing. My mom's keeps telling me, she's like, eventually it's just gonna go.
What about the stuff that was it Britney Spears? That stuff was supposed to be really good.
Accutane?
Yeah, does that work?
Yeah,
I
but
took that.
the thing is, you take it and then it really dries out your skin, and then
You
it
gotta
I've
kind
never
of,
used anything like this.
And
you
then
gotta,
it-
you got to moisturize.
and then it ends up.
That's my biggest
There are some other things that you can't like. It's not a brutal process, but it's not necessarily an easy process. Where it's
Yeah.
like I've had buddies who are on it, like their lips
does
get
it make
dry,
them
their face
sick
get
too?
dry.
I heard.
It doesn't make them sick, but it's like you are on Accutane, and you have to be aware that you are on Accutane, and you can't do certain things when you're on Accutane.
okay. Like don't get out in the sun.
I'm pretty sure you can't drink on it, or you can't do-
Alcohol.
yeah, I'm pretty, or anything like certain stuff like that. Don't quote me, but I
Okay.
know that I've had a buddy and like he was, really, really dried him out, and it wasn't necessarily the easiest process for him. I don't think I'm that bad. I'm not that bad. It's more so if I took better care of it,
Yeah,
I'd be better.
right. You
You
take
know?
better care of yourself overall.
Yeah, I think I'd
You'd be
take pretty.
better.
I think I'd take pretty good care of myself.
Okay.
How do you disagree?
I don't.
Why
doesn't-
would you
don't come
disagree?
across third person. I'll point to you.
No, thank you. I was waiting for the point.
Yeah.
Does Matt take care of himself?
Yeah.
In like what sense? Like
Well, I mean, like overall,
He's a
hygiene.
24-year-old, so he's doing dumb stuff that people do
Right,
at that
right,
age.
right.
Like he probably doesn't get enough
What about
sleep. He probably
hygiene?
doesn't
What about-
hydrate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it totally.
He's
accurate.
often come in here and told us that he used to be a disgusting human being. I don't
I'm-
know what the level of.
But
You're
I-
not
I
quite
think
that
he's maybe
anymore.
slightly above average for people his age.
Okay, have I ever smelled with you? Have you ever been?
Here's the issue.
You are lying.
Here's yes, you did.
You are
I'm
lying.
sorry, dude. You did. And I wasn't going to bring it up, but here's what you need to do. This
You're
is
the
my
worst.
suggestion to you.
You are the worst.
You
I've
need to
never
buy-
smelled
You
around
need to
you.
go buy
I've never
a nose
smelled
hair trimmer.
once. I have a
To-
trimmer.
You need to use it.
I did use it.
Not today.
I used it last
You
week.
always have like a little bit coming out, and then there's always like a booger attached to it.
Why do you say
And-
these things on the
I'm
air
just-
and not
It's-
when you
it's
and
how
I
it
are?
comes.
You and I have a lot of.
Give
You
me
and
a
I.
20. I have told you this in the
You got
past.
two
I
left.
told you this before.
You got two left.
I told you this before. I
I
told
did my
you
hair for you.
multiple
I did
times.
my hair for you today.
I saw
No
that.
compliments.
I saw that. I was gonna.
It's
do
like
that.
you're a chick. I did my hair for
I
you
was gonna
today.
get to it. I was gonna get.
I
to
just
the
don't
hair.
understand why
Yeah.
we will have private conversations. You won't
I
bring
just
any
want-
of this crap up.
That's
But
not
as soon
true.
as
I
as soon
told
as
you
the
about it.
microphone goes on,
I
it goes.
told
You
you-
smelled and you don't trim your
You
nose
asked
hairs.
me if you smell. If I wouldn't have said it if you didn't ask me. And then also,
I don't smell.
I told
I've never
you
smelled.
about the nose hair. I told how important it was. If you're gonna end up doing TV and stuff like that, you've got to make sure that is one of the
I'm still waiting for my
eyebrows
invite on Big Red Wrap
and
Up.
nose.
Seems like everybody and their mother gets invited to Big Red
You
Wrap
got
Up.
about 5 more years of doing something.
I've never
before.
done Big Red Wrap.
Yeah,
Up.
he's never been
He's
there.
got it. He's got it.
Oh, I trust me. I've mentioned Mike Schaefer.
Okay.
You've
There's
got a good
outside
5 more
forces
years.
that have kept me on.
I got
the show.
I
5
don't-
more before
easily
I'm
5 more
considered for
years,
Big
yeah.
Red Wrap
Oh,
Up.
yeah,
I was
easily.
going to say maybe 3.
No, I mean,
I totally, by the way, I'm not being naive. I totally understand.
almost everybody.
I was making a joke, by the way, about my invite. I wanna
minimum
make that
10 years
clear.
in the business.
Okay,
they
I
bring
think
on
that's
there.
totally fine.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's totally fine.
Yeah, it's random when we get somebody who hasn't been like, you know what? Like, for example, we had Lauren on one time.
Yeah.
And she was outstanding, but it was a little bit different situation.
You had Avery on one time. She was great.
We had Avery on,
She was great.
and I believe I'm not mistaken, Avery was scheduled at the beginning of the year. Lauren was a replacement
Oh,
because we lost somebody.
you did. You had Avery on, and I watched it, and you gave her a very, very tough question. I
Did I?
forgot what it was, but it was a very specific, and she had no idea it was coming, and she answered it.
She's
Beautifully.
professional. She's professional.
And I was like, I was sitting
good.
there, and I was like, I don't know how well I would have done in that. It was like the Miss America pageant where they asked the Miss America girl to solve ISIS.
World peace.
Yeah. They're like, what would you do to solve ISIS,
Yeah, yeah.
Miss Mississippi? And she actually
She nailed
put
it.
together a hell of a question. She was like, I would join up with the European Union. Like I would come together. I
Look at
would
her.
contact with NATO. I
Yeah.
think that we need to have, we need to come together. We're stronger as one.
Mm.
45 seconds. She sounded better than the administration at the time.
Good job for her.
It was incredible.
Yeah,
That's how I felt with Avery
gave her a
Howard
tough
on Big
question like
Red
that.
Wrap Up.
I don't remember the question.
I think it was about like some sort of development.
I sit next to her at football games, so I know that I know
Yeah.
what she's capable
One of the
of.
things I appreciate with her, with Lauren, with a lot of those people is like you see them at events. They're
They're
out,
everywhere.
They're there.
Yeah.
They're obviously like
1,000,000%.
involved.
Anna
in
goes
care
to
and-
everything. Anna's involved in everything.
Yeah.
She's not calling it. She's doing sidelines. She's attending it. She does everything. Yeah. She won
Yeah.
our Pivot Award last
She
year.
Yeah, I
did?
saw that.
Yeah.
You got a hell of a lineup this year for that award too.
I think so. Yeah. Yep. Yep. One of them, though, I don't know if they're still working.
Patterson?
Well, Patterson's retiring.
Yeah.
Did the guy at Channel 3 still there? Adam still there?
Kruger?
He's still working?
I have no idea.
Have you seen Adam recently?
I don't think so.
I didn't think so
I
either.
think he's.
Yep.
I think he's done.
Yeah, I thought so too. But he's on the list, and I told them about it, and they left him on the list. But whatever.
I saw
Got a
Mike
good
last night at Class C baseball.
Did you really?
Talk about a guy who's everywhere.
Yep.
I've seen Mike multiple times. This is kind of funny, actually. I've seen him multiple times at kids' movies.
Really?
Yep. Yep.
Does he have a kid?
Yeah, at the time. Well, yeah, he had a kid with him at the time.
Okay.
I believe it was actually a grandkid.
I thought you were explaining.
believe it was
Some
a
people just like
grandkid.
kids.
Yeah,
movies.
Mike Patterson is on his own
I
at
believe
kids movies.
It was his grandkid, I think. We were at Minions once,
hell of a movie.
and then we were at, oh my God.
You know, Minions.
What's the hamster movie, which was horrible?
Groundhog.
You'd be asking him.
Stuart Little.
No. This was like a hamster. It was like super
Stuart Little's
hamsters
a mouse.
or super groundhogs.
Oh,
They were
G.I.
like super. it
G.I.
was
Joe?
really
Or
bad.
GI. Wasn't there like a hamster movie? G-Force.
You
Is
sure it wasn't
G-Force?
just a
I
Kia
think it was
Soul
G-Force.
commercial?
Was it
I
G-Force?
think
Yeah.
it was G-Force.
And it ends up the mole in the movie ended up being the bad guy.
It's so bad. It
it was
so
a good
bad.
movie,
It
girl.
was so bad.
I saw G-Force at
As predicted, Matt would be the one.
Both
that would
my
go.
kids were asleep.
Well, here's why. G-Force came out when I was like 7 years
Well,
old.
yeah, that's what I mean.
It was like
yeah.
it was actually I saw G-Force at we would have a movie night at school where you would go to the auditorium
Yeah,
and they would play a big movie there
Yep.
that already like was on a Blu-ray DVD and you would hang out with all your friends and you would go and watch the movie.
Nice.
I haven't
So
seen it since then.
is state baseball Mike Patterson's last event?
He said he was working through the end of June.
Okay, so
Oh,
he'll
wow.
probably be
Good
involved
for
in
him.
CWS a little bit.
Nice.
Great guy.
Nice. He's one of the old school guys. You still got Stu and you got Tom.
Yep.
But most everybody when I got there, it was Kipis and it was Dirk and Sam's still there,
What?
obviously.
What is Rich Kipis doing?
Rich was last time I
What?
saw.
He's just an incredibly nice man.
Rich was working for. I used to do a thing that was his theme that we had. He's the nicest guy in the world. That we used to do a song for that. He was working for a company that helped raise money to build churches and stuff like that.
That tracks. in
And
every
I
level.
think he left there though.
Okay.
But that's what he was doing last time
He'd
I talked to him.
probably go work for another foundation doing incredibly nice
Something
stuff.
like that. Yep.
Super nice
Yep.
guy.
Best
Well,
guy.
a lot of the people when I broke into the business are no longer working in it.
No, they're not. Yeah.
Or it's wild because like the young people at that time were like Robin Washut,
Yes.
BC, and
All now married with
Right.
kids and
Wow.
Yes.
Because
Oh.
those guys who are young for you were like when I came in, the veterans that we were like
Yeah.
I was looking
Yep.
up to trying
Exactly.
to be cool from the 402. Michael, maybe you can get Matt a cameo in the intern room. I can be your stat boy for Big Red Wrap Up.
That's funny. We don't have an intern room.
When I
do
even
my own work.
would I even qualify to be one of your
You
interns?
could come. You could answer phones when we do the fundraising.
Matt McMaster's been accused of having a stanky butt, Rob. John,
Good text, Rob.
John.
Did they put an A in there?
They did
I
put
love
an
the A stanky.
Yeah,
That's
Stanky.
I like stanky.
that
better
would
than
be a
stinky.
great Bill
someone
Simmons.
doesn't stink, they stank.
They stank. You
Bill Simmons summer segment, slang that needs to come back. What are the top 8 slang words we don't use anymore?
Well, there's been words making comebacks that weren't used for a while. But I
That's-
don't know if that's what you want to say on air.
The ones from the 40s. Those are back and forth.
John text, I took Accutane when I was a teenager.
Uh-huh.
It
How'd it go?
caused me to have bloody noses all the time, and I'm still very susceptible to them 40 years later.
Oh my! It dries you out that much. Huh?
It does dry you out, man. It dries you out. I remember
Wow.
my buddy Joe, Jay Frat had like he had bad acne.
Yeah.
Like all like the type of acne where you're like, whoa, like you
Whoa.
know,
Oh,
yeah,
whoa
yeah,
acne.
yeah. I have the like, oh, the kid needs to wash his face a little bit more. He had the whoa.
Right. Yeah.
And I remember like Joe showed up to school one day and his like lips were like white and his like, skin is flaking off. And it's like, what, Joe, are you okay?
Yeah.
And he's like,
Lupus.
when
people talk about how great youth is, sometimes you just think about like the awkwardness of all of that.
dude, like I remember like it, like how kids in grade school would like have to manage their braces, like and stuff like that, and how they're like,
I have one with them
they're,
right now.
they're literally taking their fingers and they're digging crap out because they got foods.
And remember
Ugh.
back then they had the rubber bands and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Never had braces.
Now, and I didn't either. Both my kids have. Now it's so cool. Logan has braces. Every week he puts this little device on the phone and it takes a picture of the front, the side, and the side. They put it through this computer that analyzes how everything is going until like 2 months. Then he goes in, they put the new things on again, take the pictures every time. And it works by itself doing the adjustment.
Really?
Yeah, it's incredible.
That's
And
And
insane.
it's really far away for us. It's like Gretna. So I'm glad we don't have to go out there every week or every 2 weeks.
I still think it's quite incredible that you can get braces. You can go through that process. For some people, I knew they had braces for like 4 years.
Mhm.
Like it was a grueling
Yep,
process.
yep.
And then you're done, you're good. But if you don't wear your retainer, it's gonna screw it all up.
That was my
after.
wife. My wife didn't wear a retainer and she got the gap back from it.
My mom had braces, and her top teeth are fine, but her bottom teeth are a little crooked. Her wisdom teeth screwed them all up.
That happens. Sometimes you get them late too. Sometimes you get late.
I
wisdom
have
teeth.
I have
Yeah.
wisdom teeth right now. I haven't gotten them
Sometimes you're like
removed.
Bowfinger, you have adult braces.
That is true.
my
Yes.
my wisdom
That's an
teeth.
underrated movie.
My wisdom
First
teeth
thing I
fully
can
grown
think of
in.
with an
Yeah.
adult.
They are
brace.
there.
Yeah.
I can get them out whenever I
Yeah.
want, and I don't know if I will.
3 of them came in. 1 I had to have removed. I met a girl this weekend that had 5 wisdom teeth.
Oh my! Oh,
Whoa.
she had
Didn't even
one
know you were allowed
It
to
was
have more than
impacted.
4.
Yeah.
it was
Oh,
impacted. Yeah,
those
she had
are the
5 of
worst.
them. I was like, ooh, I know. So former meteorologist at Channel 7, Andrea Brado, her baby teeth wouldn't fall out. So they had to be
Whoa.
broken out.
Oh my goodness.
Tough.
That's why she's one of the strongest people, like really has no feelings whatsoever. And I say that's because you had your teeth knocked out.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want
Go ahead.
Wouldn't
would
want.
not
Exactly.
want.
No thanks.
Yeah, I played hockey for 13 years. I only had 2 chipped teeth. It was
Two
great.
chips.
Yeah,
No losing a
one
Yeah.
right here.
What's
Uh,
the mouth guard situation with hockey?
I
Like,
mean,
what are you just like wearing like, are you even wearing them? Are you
so-
Stephon Diggs? It's just dangling from something
so,
over here.
like-
that.
Like it depends. I used to hate wearing a mouth guard.
Yeah.
So I would put a piece of tape on the front part, and then like they'd be like mouth guard check, and I would open up, and they would just see a piece of black, and they would just be like, "Oh, he's got a
went
mouth."
to extra work to avoid doing something.
Because I didn't.
That is so youthful.
because I couldn't talk.
Yeah.
I couldn't talk with a mouth guard. You just because you got to be talking out there if you're a good team.
Yeah.
Then I got one where it was molded. And
Yeah,
that
that's
was
yeah.
and that was great, and I used that
What
for
was
the
your
last.
mouth guard that wasn't?
Yeah.
rolled?
What was it? It was just like a
Well, no. I'm talking about the one
You
that
never
was
had
like
to dip it in the pot
No,
of
no, no,
boiling
pot of
water,
boiling
shove
water.
it in
No,
your
no.
mouth,
I-
and have
I-
your
you.
sides
No,
of
no.
your face burn.
One second,
Yes.
real quick.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the one where it's like laminated to your teeth all the way up top, and so it's
Yeah.
like a thin piece of like rubber where you're still it's just kind of
the
there
one
and you're just
piecer?
talking.
Okay. Yeah.
Now the jock strap
Only had
situation.
that for like a teeth whitening thing before my wedding. That's the only time I've done anything. like
Anything
that.
like that? Yeah. Yeah.
the
You get
jock
that
strap
mouth guard.
situation was I used a jock strap up until I was 16, and then I didn't use it for the last 2.5 years of my career. Last 2.5 years of hockey, I
The
wasn't wearing a
only
cup.
position I've ever worn a cup was for the 1.5 a year I was catching.
Yeah.
I didn't.
The
do it for
only time
baseball.
because catching I realized really quickly. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I had a
It
big,
wasn't great.
I had a big growth spurt from 16 to 17, and so heading into junior year, you go in and you're coming back from the summer, and
like
I
5'2" to 5'6".
like 5'4" to like 5'9.5", and like I gained a good 20 pounds, and I put on my jock strap, and it just doesn't fit, and it's just you're pulling it up, and it was the same one that I had since I was like 8, right? So I've had this thing for like 8 years or 9 years, and you're like, oh, I got to get a new one, and then you put the new one on, and you're like, this is just inhibiting my movement at this point, so you just take
This
the
is
thumb out.
Incredible.
This is where you
overshare.
yell bingo.
Yeah.
Blackout. You win bingo.
I'm telling you,
The
just-
crossover is where you learn things to questions no one ever asked.
No one ever asked. Good call. Good call. That's a very good
just
call.
telling him, just you asked the mouth guard
Yeah, we
situation.
never brought up the we never went
optional.
below the waist with the question though. We were
No.
like way up here.
It was in the mouth.
We were up in here,
The mouth.
never down there. We're up in here.
You gotta listen to Middays with Matt. We go down there, even if it's
Yeah, you don't have to go
makes
down
no
there if you
sense.
don't want to go down there. You have to.
coming
Always in
from
the
you.
Not required to go
Coming,
down there.
I've gotten this from you.
It's not required to go down there.
My
that often.
ability to make the down there jokes comes from being off of the Michael Severe
I
coaching
don't
tree.
know what you're talking about.
By the way, John had a great text yesterday. John with an N. He's my biggest hater. I love him.
Just Jon.
Jon.
Jonathan.
With no
Jonathan.
H.
Welcome, Jonathan.
He goes, Jesus. If Michael is responsible for Matt, we certainly don't need another one of his trainees. This is when you were offering the guy to come work for us for the College World Series.
Right. No, that kid is awesome kid. I think I got him a job over at a different place.
Okay.
You got me.
Shopping
How many?
around
I
town.
reached out to
Ooh.
everybody.
Great question. How many people do you think, young people, do you think you've gotten jobs for in the broadcasting industry?
It's about a half a dozen. It's about
Really?
Kevin has more than me. He's got more of a tree. I about a half a dozen that I've gotten. that
You
I've
got me.
helped.
Never thought about this as trees before. Like as in terms
broadcast
of
tree?
who, yeah.
I have 4 different people who claim me on their tree.
Yeah.
But I only associate with you.
I think Josh goes on Kevin and my tree. I think because you know he interned before he
Sure.
Yeah,
became-
that'd be a check for
Before-
both of you.
before he ever
You just split them in
became a
half. Which
producer.
half of Josh do you
Solomon?
want?
Yes, we do a little Solomon action on it.
Jack Mitchell tries to put me on his tree, but I don't think I'm on his tree. I think I'm on your tree because I wasn't on the air with Jack. Really.
Jack and Michael have, and I'm talking about myself in third person, have kind of a dynasty. And none of you guys, maybe Josh, understand this. We have kind of a dynasty relationship where we really hate each other, for the most part. But at the same time, we do hide it, Yeah,
Dynasty, the
this is a
television
Alexis
show.
Carrington kind of thing.
Did
I'm going to push him in a pool and call him a bitch.
He wants to do a podcast with you, and I at one point said that you were my 2 broadcasting dads, and he said that would be a great podcast title for Michael and I, My 2 Dads,
My
with,
2 Dads.
with Jack Mitchell and
Yeah.
Michael Severe.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah.
You two are the
That would be
opposite
interesting.
humans.
He is. We are. We're
You are.
opposites.
You could
Here's-
not be more
here's
different
what
than
we are.
Jack Mitchell.
Here's how we are opposite. I have never been the kind of fan he is.
No, ever.
And could never be that kind of
Right.
fan. I think he can be that kind of fan because of where he grew up.
1,000,000%.
And
think
I
that's
don't
why
know-
the podcast between
but-
you two would work.
It would, because you two
How
are.
would that work? I'd be wanting to choke him.
But he will
Yeah.
choke you. But
Yeah.
here's the underrated thing about
Some
Jack.
people
Jack will
enjoy
choke you
that.
back.
I don't think
Who's
Jack-
going to die today?
Jack
They
comes
say
across
as
the
they
table.
put this
That'd be a
episode.
great segment.
if Jack comes across the table, it's over. I'm just saying right now, it's over.
That should be your next bracket. Who would win in a fight?
Who'd win in a fight between media guys?
No,
Media
between
fight.
media guys.
It's
Just
coming
straight
up.
up.
March Madness is around the corner
Just
again.
no broadcasting,
Yeah,
no
yeah,
podcasts,
who would
no
win in a
radio.
fight?
Just who would win in a fight?
I like
just
that.
straight up.
I got no problem. I
Sipple's
would
got
do
the
that.
Yeah.
boxing background.
Simple
too.
boxed.
You know
and,
what?
And he has no feeling in his body.
Oh, speaking about Sipple, I got to remind him he's on my show today.
Yeah, you should remind him of that. He Sipple is one of
Good
those
luck.
guys that has no like feeling. You know, like that movie Novocaine. That's basically Sipple. He's the Novocaine movie.
He's no kidding.
He's Novocaine movie. Yes. He
So
would-
Sip asked me, like I was talking to him about his boxing career, and I was like, Gold Glover, right? And he was like, Silver Glover, and I'm like, Sip, you can lie about that. You can.
Sip is not
Why
gonna
would you
lie.
lie about that?
But
You
at
know
that,
what-
but
you know-
like what Brian Scalabrine said, like down the line, like he played in the finals.
So
like
when you
nobody-
say that you've had a game-winning goal, is it actually the goal is in the first period and no one scored?
And no one scored
but
after
that is the game-winning goal.
It
But
truly
no,
is,
I
yeah.
understand. But like, do you is that the same as someone telling you that they won a game on their goal?
At that point, 40 years later,
So this is
what's the
why
difference between a
You know
Silver
what- do you know
Glover
what
and a Gold
Sip's
Glover?
go-to
this
sport
is where
is?
the 39 is 40 comes in.
Do you know what Sip's
Horse
go-to
racing?
sport is? Right, his
Horse
best
racing?
sport.
Horse racing?
No,
What-
Sip was a basketball player.
Oh,
Sip was a hooper. Sip and the two best basketball players that I know of in the business besides Nick Baugh are El Kent Wagamont and Sip. Both these guys were really good high school basketball
awesome.
players.
That's incredible.
Well, I know this because Stu Pospisil told me, who's been covering high school basketball for 100 years.
He would know.
You guys are the best. I appreciate.
I know
you,
Sybil more as a tennis player and a baseball player than basketball.
A basketball hooper. He's
His
a
name
hooper.
has never come up in Columbus history basketball.
Really?
Ever.
I believe he played in the state, not finals, but in some deep into the playoffs.
He probably played in this in
Yeah.
the state tournament.
Yeah.
Columbus used to be really good at
I
basketball.
think even better than that.
Part of it is Columbus like has a good basketball history until
Yeah.
they basically never.
no
won
Sipple on
ever
today on Middays with Matt.
You guys have.
I said good luck. I
He
tried.
goes. Can I don't.
He's rescheduled the podcast with me 6 times. Listen, the thing
The
that-
way I'm not going to read this because it's a medical thing, but
Yeah.
I will read it to you off air how he describes why he is not going to
Okay.
be on the
here's
show.
what Columbus is. Beyond anything else, you guys are the media capital of Nebraska.
There's three.
There's 3 of you guys. That's enough. I mean,
It's a
3 out
lot
of
for
what's
the-
from
the town.
rising freaking city.
Columbus High.
Columbus High, baby.
All right, boys, you got to
See you
get out
later,
of here.
dude. See you
Appreciate
later.
you both.
Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow. That was Crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. It is Matt coming up next.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
That's an absolutely horse crap call. Make room for Daddy. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays, Matt, live and rolling here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network. Matt McMaster is always joined by Josh Odson on a very baseball, softball friendly day. Creighton baseball in action.
Probably.
Yeah, I feel bad for Connor Happer.
I mean, did they just make him sit at the ballpark all day?
I have
or did
no
they let
idea.
Did they let him go to
You
the
know
hotel?
what? If Connor wants to call in at 11 o'clock, maybe I'll ask Connor to call in at 11.
Well, that's when the game starts.
Oh, great point.
10:45 pregame.
I didn't know that, by the way. I was fully prepared.
It's moved a few times. It's okay if you didn't
I know. I swear to you, I knew it was today. It just, I was making a joke being like, oh, it actually kind of would be fun to bring Connor in at 11 o'clock to replace Steve Sipple, who is currently unavailable today. Be like,
I can pull him up on the router and we can just listen to him.
How about we just do Creighton baseball today instead of doing the show?
An alt cast.
No, we are not going to do that. We're going to have a lot of fun today. Creighton baseball will be. Why did you go dang it? You don't want to do the show today, Josh?
An alt cast would be fun.
You don't want to host with me?
No,
you don't.
You're the host.
I'm the co-host.
I'm the wisecracking sidekick.
I don't know if you're Robin because I feel like that would be an insult to you. I was gonna say I did consider saying I'm not gonna call you Robin because that would be an insult to Robins, But no, you're more than a Robin. I don't know what you.
Robin Washit, very strong.
Maybe Michelangelo.
Okay,
but I think you're.
I could work with that.
Donatello. I love Donatello. You're Donatello. There you go. And I'm Raphael. Put it that way.
You are always angry for some reason.
I am always pissed off. Everybody's always sending emails to people about why is Matt mad again. I'll tell you know what? Today is not a day to be mad. And we will find out later in the show why that is. I'm very excited about what's going to happen in the next couple of minutes here.
Okay.
But we have a fun show for you today. We will be giving you updates of Creighton baseball as they happen. Like Josh mentioned, 10:45 pregame, 11 a.m. first pitch for Creighton baseball over in Prasco Park, taking on St. John's. They were supposed to play yesterday. They are now playing today. If they end up losing today, they will have to play at 7 o'clock. If they win today, they will play tomorrow at a time that I believe will be determined later. I don't think those pitch times are out yet. So we will talk about softball today. We'll talk about baseball today, give you some live updates. We'll also talk about the playoffs that have been going on. OKC versus San Antonio, Vegas versus Colorado. That was very entertaining. We'll also do a fun little exercise today too, because, a lot has been made about the Nebraska football schedule and all of the things that go into it, them playing the top 3 teams in the league, then them playing 3 of the middle teams of the league, kind of that next tier, if you will, of Big Ten teams that have given Nebraska a thorn in its side, or teams like them have given Nebraska a thorn in their side, and then they play probably a lower tier bottom of the Big Ten with Rutgers, Maryland, and Michigan State. How has Nebraska fared out in terms of their schedule flipping one way or the other? Have they been more vulnerable to their schedule ending up being tougher than what it actually is? Have they been more has it been more convenient where their schedule actually ends up being less tough than what we think it was going to be? We've always had kind of, we always kind of put a generalization on it. I feel like, the schedule always flips the wrong way for Nebraska. Or, we always think that these teams are going to be way better and they end up being way worse. I've put numbers to them. I've gone back. I found the previous win totals. I found the actual wins that they've had. We've put numbers to it. Has Nebraska been fortunate? Have they been unfortunate when it comes to their schedule? Under Matt Rule, we've gone the 2023, 2024, and 2025 season, so we will see. What does that mean for 2026? Probably nothing, but it's always a fun thing to do, and we'll talk about that. Are there some candidates on Nebraska's schedule to underperform and to not play as well as maybe we believe them to be? Are there candidates for Nebraska to play that will end up having breakout seasons that we may not have foreseen coming? We are going to get some of those answers because Brett Ciancia of the Pick Six Previews joins us at 12 o'clock today. Yes, Brett will be a guest on Middays with Matt through the entirety of the college football season, but we're going to check up on Brett today, see how many teams he has in his book, which previews all the teams from across all of college football. He told me last week that he had 40 teams completed, which pretty damn good. It's going to come out. I believe he told me, actually texted me, he told me when to look out for it. Let's see here. He's going to come on at 12 o'clock today to talk about it, but he's got 40 teams done. We'll see how that has increased since.
Where does he start? Does he do the top 25? Does he do a conference at a time?
So he told me that it will be ready sometime in July.
Okay.
He told me. So
we're at a good pace.
We're at a very good pace right now. So we'll continue. We'll talk to Brett and see how well he is doing. Does he have Nebraska done? I would love to hear what Brett has written about Nebraska. We'll also ask him if he has some of Nebraska's opponents done. We'll also just ask Brett, hey, what is your early season outlook just in terms of national championship contenders? I was looking at a CBS Sports 2027 mock draft yesterday. There was like 6 Texas Longhorns taken in the first round. If that's any indication that they might end up being the preseason number 1 team in the country, well, I don't know what is. So we will talk to Brett about that. We'll also talk to Brett about, is Indiana going to fall off? Is this a big year for Sarkisian and Lanning? Last year, when we did this kind of preseason, the preseason preview with Brett Ciancia, when I was on with Gary in the morning, Brett literally said, look, I'm not picking them to win the national championship in 2025-26, but in 2026-27, I'm picking the Oregon Ducks to win the national championship. He was very high on what the Ducks would look like this season before last season even began. Does he still feel that way? Does he still have the Oregon Ducks as his team to beat in 2026? We will talk to Brett Ciancia about that. We will also talk to Lauren Michelson of KETV today as well. She'll join us at 1:20. We'll see where she's at across. There's been state track that's been going on. There's been state soccer that's been going on. Softball plays today. I have a prompt, and maybe I'm asking help here. Jordy Ball's legacy. I can only find one athlete that I can compare to what she could potentially accomplish with winning championships elsewhere and then returning back home to get Nebraska a championship potentially in softball. I can only find one other comparison. I'm going to give you that comparison, and then I'm going to ask, is there anyone that I'm missing here that you can kind of hearken back to and also add to that? But so far, when we're talking about what Jordy Ball is trying to accomplish, I can only really find one athlete just across sports that I know off the top of my head that is comparable to what she's trying to accomplish here. We'll also talk about Ed Orgeron returning back to LSU to be a special assistant in recruiting, also help up on the defensive end for Lane Kiffin and the LSU Tigers. Look, we're all going to laugh and we're going to make the tweets and we're going to be like, oh my God, you got Will Wade and Kim Mulkey and Ed Orgeron and Lane Kiffin. Holy crap, what an athletic department. That's a nightmare walking. I think this is pretty dangerous. I think this is a very dangerous addition for LSU, a very dangerous addition for Lane Kiffin in a good way. Dangerous, and it's going to help the Tigers in the long run. And then on top of that, it actually got me to start asking a question about Nebraska football. And we could kind of relate to some things that have happened recently in the 2027 class. So we'll get there today. We have a lot of things we're going to hit. Hockey, basketball, softball, baseball, football. I'm sure when we are going through the show today, we'll get some sort of Brendan Sorsby update. We'll get some, Will Wade
that guy's
update.
talking a lot
we'll
for a guy who shouldn't be.
Which one?
Yes.
Got to be more specific here.
Sorsby.
Yeah. Did you see the Texas Tech? They were the message boards. They were very upset that the I believe it was his name was Philippes, the judge who is the Texas Tech alum. They were mad that he recused himself from the Brennan Sorsby injunction case, and they were saying if he was a real Red Raider, he wouldn't have recused himself from this trial.
Oh God!
They were also saying, the Aggies wouldn't have done this. The Longhorns wouldn't have done this. If they had judges that were previously alum, they would have given their players injunctions. Why can't we be like the SEC teams?
But also legal corruption bad.
No, not at all. There was no
okay.
There was no sympathy. There was no backtracking. It was like, no. We want to break the law in order for our quarterback, who definitely should not be playing football, in order for him to play football. We want to give a shout out real quick to our chat here. Mike's in the chat. J-Man's in the chat. Jimmy's in the chat. We saw Owen in the chat earlier today. We want to thank all of our incredible YouTube chatters for joining us every single day and contributing to the show. If you want to contribute to the show, 402-951-1620. That is the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more. Also, don't forget to email in to the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. Equitable Bank, they take banking personally. They always pick up on the first ring. Old Man Doug, shout out at Matt at 1620 The Zone, at Josh O at 1620 The Zone. And don't forget to hit us up at the Zone Twitter feed, which is powered by Liquid Trucking. At Matt McMedia, at producer Josh. Let's go to the Prairie Flower Casino Zone text line from John with an N.
Are there Johns without an N?
Well, this is our hater John.
But
there's the John with an H.
Okay, now
I think John with an N should just be John, and then we have John with an H.
Yeah.
Just because of the frequency of text. All right, I'm glad we established that. Connor said he put 2 tacos in his pocket and went back to the hotel to wait for the game yesterday.
Okay.
Those tacos had to be wrapped, right?
Pocket tacos.
Pocket tacos. Mr. Pocket Taco. By the way, real quick, I had a burrito the other day, and they drenched it in queso. And
I don't like that. I know people do. I don't like that.
If I can't pick up the burrito, it's not a burrito. It's
excellent food take, Matt.
It's
McMaster.
a soft chimichanga. It's a bigger enchilada. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's not a burrito anymore. And also,
I get it. We're American. We have to find places to put cheese on things now because we think we've covered every inch of everything with cheese.
If you're running a Mexican place, stop being American. Okay? If you're running a Mexican place, stop thinking like an American and stop thinking you have to do things like American food. Make the Mexican food. Use the tortas. Use the masa. Get the right cheese. Get the cojita. Get the chihuahua. Get the right things. Don't call it green sauce or red sauce. Call it rojo or verde. All right? Jeez, man. What are we doing here? I'm really mad that the one Mexican place by me ends up just being very overpriced.
I wish you would have said something on the front end. I would have told you.
I already did it, and I did they have a signature item that they have. And I did the signature item. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, everyone was freaking out about it. It's fine. And then I was like, oh, you know what? Let me go there, but not get their signature item. Like, let me get another thing on the menu.
Okay.
And then I was just very, very disappointed. Now, before we get the show really started, before we really delve into what we're doing today, I think it's only right. It's only correct that we reflect on the past and that we give credit to credit is due to somebody who frankly, in my opinion, deserves it, because we can't move forward without looking back. And I just think that's a very important part of the show today. I don't know why I'm making a bunch of predictions today. I don't know why I feel like I'm in the mood to predict everything.
It's good for us. I'm not going to stop you.
Typically, it gets me in trouble. Typically, it gets me in trouble.
Ladies and gentlemen, a lot heavier. Where Matt was right. We want to text. We want to go on the scrolls. We want to say this guy's voice sucks. We want to say this. If you listen to me, you'd be rich too. Play it again. I don't care.
I don't know why I'm making a bunch of predictions.
I don't care. Play it again.
Why I feel like I'm in the mood to predict everything.
It's good for us. I'm not going to stop you.
Dance with me in the car. One more time. One more time. One more time. One more time.
Guy knows puck. Guy knows horsey. I can't go a third time.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure?
100%.
Are you sure?
I can't. I'm not going to dance.
I don't know why I'm making a bunch of predictions today. I don't know why I feel like I'm in the mood to predict everything.
It's good for us. I'm not going to stop you.
Typically, it gets me in trouble.
All right, we're done. My foot's hurting.
Got a couple right over the last few days, huh?
I promise when I'm wrong, we'll do this too. We'll hold it both ways. But we got to celebrate the wins. How can you?
Who else is?
Look, here's Bill Belichick, one of the greatest coaches of all time. Had a sit-down film study. He goes, look, you guys made this great play. You practice all week. You study all week. You work hard all week to make these plays. And then you don't celebrate them? You got to celebrate. You got to celebrate your wins. And that's what we're doing here on Middays with Matt. We got to celebrate our wins. So thank you. Thank you, Josh, for letting us play that. I got into the studio an hour early to make that today.
You did. You were up here grinding before the sun came up.
I'm telling you right now, Ghost Dog is rubbing off on me.
Well, when you just parrot his picks, it tends to go pretty well for you.
No, but it was an alteration of his picks.
Last night you did not.
He went sharp. I went full on. And sometimes going full in on it helps you win, folks. All right, there's a lot of comments that we have to. Josh doing his best John Jacobs impression? I didn't get that. Placat.
PC in the chat.
Congrats, Matt. 1 for 2 on triple round races is difficult. He's being facetious because he's gone 2 for 2. Charles goes, I'm dancing in my office. Carol said, get these guys a Corona. Actually, we would love that.
Would not turn one down. It would be rude.
Andy goes, I'm on an air bike at cardiac rehab watching them make me even more tired.
That's right. Yeah, I can hear it in your voice how tired you are right now, Matt.
Oh, apparently, I think we broke the app.
We broke the app.
I think we broke the app with La Chona.
Oh, no. That
can't be
good.
This is your first day listening to this show.
Oh, yeah,
welcome.
You're confused.
Welcome to Middays with Matt. J-Man goes, Matt may be onto something. Get Sammy Sosa and his salsa music back in the club's locker room to exercise the clubhouse. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We are playing too much white boy music in our clubhouse right now. Too much Taylor Swift.
You do have a certain type.
What does that mean?
On your team.
We do have a lot of the same looking guy.
Uh-huh. I didn't realize that until just now. And I watched the Cubs quite a few times.
I've watched the Cubs 3 days in a row, and it's just insane how they're just getting their asses kicked up and down the diamond. I mean, it was a brutal loss yesterday. Absolutely brutal. Absolutely terrible. And he goes, Matt found his niche, a segment of dancing. I am sweating right after that.
You were going hard in the paint.
Well, you know what? I wrapped my foot today. And so my planters is actually feeling much better.
Okay.
I'm actually in the much better dancing mood. By the way, I didn't play softball yesterday, and if my teammates saw that I was dancing on camera, they'd actually be pretty mad. They're like, this guy is up and moving. He's up and dancing. He's doing the salsa. He's doing the salsa, and he couldn't play for us yesterday? Couldn't play for the Cheese Weasels? Are you kidding me?
The Cheese Weasels?
No, I don't even know what our name
Oh,
is.
okay.
I think we're the Super Sluggers is what we are. We lost to We Got the Runs yesterday.
All right.
We're 0-7.
Whoa. You need to fix the clubhouse mojo there first.
I'm going to be real with you. The clubhouse mojo is at an all-time low.
Yeah.
I can't reveal why. There are things. Let's just say there's tension in the locker room right now.
Is there infighting?
Yes.
Okay. Well, someone's got to go.
There's some dissension going on in the locker room right now after our atrocious 0-7 start. Some people are calling for roommate Dan's head right now.
Whoa. Now, I don't mean to
go ahead.
Do you side with your roommate or do you side with the team?
Oh, I side with my roommate.
Okay.
I side with Dan. I think that Dan is completely in the right in terms of things. He's not like Matt Quattrero, who was batting Isaac Collins in the cleanup spot yesterday.
Whoa, who is that?
5'8", former Milwaukee Brewer Isaac Collins, and former Creighton Blue Jay, by the way. So we don't want to, tarnish him that much. I think Isaac Collins is a fine baseball player, but I would just like to know what analytic made Matt Quattrero put Isaac Collins in the cleanup spot yesterday. Wins above what? Runs created plus what? What is weighted what made Matt Quattrero make the lineup the way that he did yesterday? It's not very good over in Kansas City right now. At least people are telling me that. I can't wait for balls tomorrow with Josh Hodson.
The Cubs might come up. They tend to come up.
Yeah, because they're on a 5-game losing streak and just got swept by the Milwaukee Brewers.
So bad.
Absolutely brutal. It's been bad. I mean, bad.
It's bad.
It's bad. I mean, they lost all of their starting pitching. I don't know what to tell you. Speaking about pitching, we'll talk about Jordy Fromm later in the show. We'll also talk about Creighton Reds baseball. Also talk about Ed Ogeron, Lane Kiffin, Matt Rule, Nebraska football, wins above expectation, all of that type of stuff. We are so happy to kick off the show, though, with just a celebration. Just a celebration of good predictions. Celebration of good sport radio. You were dancing a little bit, by the way. You got a little pep in your step.
I got into it. I had a Diet Coke. I was ready to go.
Yeah. I had a coffee today.
Good for you.
I haven't had a coffee in like 5 days. Straight energy drinks is what we've been doing.
White Monsters and Marlboros.
I'm more of a Camel guy, if you ask.
Okay.
Yeah. Got to keep it light. The Michelobes of cigarettes is what they're called. So we are not the Michelob of 1620 The Zone. We're more like a Budweiser, if you were to ask me. We have a great show for you today. Hugh Jackman is going to sing for us today. What about that? The Greatest Showman. Come on now. Here on Middays with Matt.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
In my hair this morning to be all like.
Because you knew you were going to dance on camera?
Well, no, because I didn't think of that. And that's kind of what my complaint is. I did my hair this morning and I danced on camera for a good 6 minutes, and now I'm a little sweaty and now my hair's all messed up.
Went a little hardened. And oh, yeah.
Look at that. Look how bad that is. I look like Austin Jacobson, but just kind of like a wider base. But if I look straight on, it
Did
looks
you say
fine.
wider or whiter?
No, Austin is whiter than me. Austin is how many times do I have to? The reason I knew to do La Chona was because I am Latin. I was thinking last night, what is the best way to celebrate my correct predictions across the last couple of weeks? La Chona came to my mind.
Thank you for sharing your heritage with us.
I did. Now that was more Mexican music, and I'm Cuban, so it was a little, cross heritage, but my Latin heritage, if you will. So we had a great time. I don't know how often, people here in Nebraska get to listen to mariachi music. So I thought I would bless it upon the people. Yeah, less than probably most places, you would think. But yeah, we had some good wins. Couple of topics, though, about those actual games. Vegas versus Colorado is going to be awesome. Going to be a very good series. Some of the best high-level hockey that I've seen in quite some time.
You've been waiting for this for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of pretty clear after Anaheim beat Edmonton that I was like, all right, Vegas is probably going to end up in the conference finals. And after game 2 versus Minnesota, it was very clear that Colorado was going to end up being in the series. And I think, honestly, after game 1, you're like, wow, they just seem to be a lot better than the Wild, and the Wild are going to have to skill a couple of wins. And actually, it happened the other way. The Wild were up 3-0 in game 5. It seemed like it was done, and I think with 8 minutes left, Colorado scored their first goal and ended up coming back and winning that game in overtime. Colorado just kind of looked sloppy yesterday. I think just the extended rest that they had did not play well. There is such a thing, and I can definitely speak for it in terms of hockey. There is such a thing as too much rest when you're going from series to series. And I do think that Vegas, the fact that they, they've been playing really good hockey, and then they're able to parlay their series win into the next series. I think that helped them. I also do think Tortskas had a hell of a plan yesterday where he goes, all right, guys, we're going to have active sticks in the house. We're not going to let them get high quality opportunities. We're going to shut them down from setting up in the house. And if that means that we're going to have to allow them to get some more odd man rushes and use their speed in order to set up our defense, so be it. Carter Hart, the goalie for Vegas, was absolutely phenomenal, had 36 saves, 95% save percentage. Vegas had their plan. They said, all right, if Colorado's going to win this game, they're going to beat us on odd man rushes. And, the first goal of the game for Colorado came with 14 minutes left in the third period. It was on odd man rush. Just the two Vegas defensemen tripped over each other. And that's how it happened. And they ended up getting the puck toward the net, and it went by Hart with a nice little tip in front. Outside of that, though, Vegas just locked it down to the defensive end. They got their goals when they needed to get them, executed on the power play, had a nice little 5-hole first goal of the game. Really, really, really impressive stuff from Vegas. And then yesterday, the Thunder beat the Spurs. I think SGA, 30 points, 9 assists, had multiple clutch shots down the stretch. Look, I've been guilty of being he's a foul baiter and he's this, and, he's not the most entertaining guy to watch play if you compare him to other dudes who have had, MVPs, across the history of the NBA. He hasn't been doing that this series. He's just been straight up balling this series. He was straight up balling yesterday, 12 of 24 from the field, only took 6 free throws. Did a lot of his work from the mid-range. The beauty with San Antonio and the aggressiveness on the perimeter, along with just having Wemby, who is able to, not only just block shots, but also deter guys from taking shots, is you got to be good at the mid-range, right? And that's kind of the game that San Antonio wants to force you in sometimes. All right, take your mid-range shots. And we've come to learn analytically, those are the type of shots that if you're on defense, you're totally okay with the offense taking. The problem is that OKC is totally, they got shot makers across the floor. And Caruso was even hitting a couple mid-range shots. McCain hit a couple from the outside. SGA hit a couple mid-range shots. Like, they were able to make San Antonio pay. And, they're doing a really good job of finding, all right, where is Wemby out on the court where he's alone? And then how can we space him out? And then once Wemby comes out to contest, How do we get a cutter toward that lane? They did that a couple of times yesterday. I told you yesterday, we're not going to play the minute 30 clip again, but I just could not imagine Oklahoma City being that good of a team and allowing 2 games to just go to the wayside and allowing San Antonio to go up 2-0 heading into their home court. So, Oklahoma City, they battened down the hatches. They did especially what they needed to do. And it's going to be a hell of a series, man. I think there was a part of me that was a little nervous that after game 1 that this series could not live up to that billing game in and game out. And granted, I don't think anything is going to be as exciting unless they go to 7, which they very well could. I don't think anything is going to be as exciting as that game 1 double overtime game was, but yesterday was just high quality basketball. I had a great time on my double TV yesterday watching high quality hockey on one TV and very high quality basketball on the other TV. It was some really, really impressive stuff. We got Captain in the chat. Captain, always love seeing him. He goes, a lot is going on in Omaha this week. Skate soccer, skate track meet, Big Ten baseball tournament. You're absolutely right, Captain. We're going to have Lauren Michelson on at 1:20 today. She'll give us the update on skate track and some of the things that we're covering. Noah Sacco, who is the new man for KETV, who is our white whale, who we've been trying to book
one of these
days. We will get Mr. Sacco. He is covering skate track today for KETV. So if you want your skate track coverage, go to KETV later tonight. They will have it all there for you, but we'll talk to Lauren about that. I know she's been in and around the skate track activities. Austin Jacobson will join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock to talk all about him. He's been all over skate soccer, but let's talk about an activity happening not in Omaha necessarily, but it's happening in Lincoln later tonight. We're about 9 hours away from tip-off, which, by the way, first pitch for Creighton men's baseball just took off, correct? 11 o'clock. That was the
first
pitch.
Yes.
Connor Happer on the call at 11:80. Nebraska softball hosting their first super regional today against the Oklahoma State Cowgirls, which I am not a proponent of doing that whole thing where it's like they're the Lady Lions. I'm not a fan of that. This one makes sense, though. We give this one a pass. Ruby Malin, the Omaha Scott Catholic pitcher, will be on the mound in Lincoln, taking on another local product, Jordy Fromm. Incredible story over there on the Omaha World Herald about the 3 pitchers that will be presented in Lincoln in this super regional. Alexis Jensen, along with Jordy Fromm and Ruby Malin, all coached for the same pitching coach. So really, really cool stuff. There was a great article. Justin Frommer, who is a new addition to the Omaha World Herald, a fairly new addition, wrote a feature on Darren. My apologies, Darren. We're gonna go Darren Dubsky or Dubsky. I apologize, but the pitching coach for all 3 of these products that will be pitching in Lincoln. Absolutely incredible story with Jordy Fromm, Alexis Jensen, and Ruby Malin. So I encourage you to go and read Justin's great work on the Omaha.com. I was thinking about Jordy Fromm and what the story would be if she were to end up leading Nebraska to a national championship. Still got a long road to go. Okay. These 2 teams, Oklahoma State, Nebraska, played 2 games against each other. They split them. Ruby Malin in the first one was absolutely dynamite, pitched 10 innings. She's got the ability, we've seen it in the past, to shut this offense down, which, by the way, we all know the story about 21 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run between Alexis Jensen and Jordy Fromm. But this Nebraska offense was not the Nebraska offense we were used to seeing throughout the season. Only 7 runs scored throughout those 3 games. Really relied on their pitching. They're going to have to be better against Oklahoma State in the Super Regional. So a long way to go. But let's just have this conversation, right? If Jordy Fromm were to end up leading Nebraska to a national championship, the only other person with a similar story that I can think of is LeBron James. Now,
that's who I was thinking of.
Don't like you might swerve your car off the road right now being like, whoa, Matt's really comparing Jordy Fromm to LeBron James. Give me a second here. All right. Don't worry. It's not going to get any crazier than me playing La Chona on the air. All right. To begin
the story is similar.
The story is similar. Here's why. Because Jordy Fromm
incredible at her craft, one of the best in the country at softball, has been one of the best in the country at softball, goes elsewhere, goes to Oklahoma, wins national championships, plural. Best player in those series to win those national championships for Oklahoma, has great success elsewhere, and now comes home to Nebraska, to a place that hasn't won a softball championship in program history, and is on the road to leading them to do it. Who else in sports has gone elsewhere, proven they're the best in their sport, won multiple championships, established themselves as one of the best, and said, I did what I needed to do to establish my legacy. Now it's time for me to go home and lead the movement to accomplish something that hadn't been done before. Who else has done that? It's only, unless somebody else can come up with a good example, it's only been LeBron. He's the only other person who won championships in Miami, established themselves as one of the best, if not the best in the sport at the time. I mean, for him, for sure it was. And said, okay, I've done what I needed to do to cement my legacy as one of the best the sport has seen. And now I'm going to do a side quest, if you will, because I don't need as many championships as you think to prove how great of a player I am currently. I'm going to go elsewhere. I'm going to go back to where it means the most to me. And I'm going to do something that no one else has been able to do. It's an incredible story. It's a story that, as we've seen in sport history, it's it's insane to accomplish and very hard to repeat. We've seen great stories of athletes go out, going back home, going to their hometown, right? John Tavares goes to Toronto, Derrick Rose in Chicago, right? We've seen this before of athletes wanting to go where it all started for them and lead their teams to championships, to bring honor not only for their program, but also for their city and for their state. We've seen that happen. We've seen them fail.
So I have a list of athletes who brought a title to their hometown.
Ooh, this is great.
I don't have it's just a list. I don't have any details on any of these. Pete Rose, back-to-back titles with the Reds in 75, 76.
Great job.
Lou Gehrig won 6 titles with the Yankees. I don't think he was somewhere else before that, though.
Okay, there you go.
Cal Ripken won a World Series with the Orioles in 83. Again, I don't, forgive me, I don't know if he was somewhere else first.
I believe it was.
Mark Messier led the Oilers to 5 cups.
He did go to New York, but I don't believe he's from New York.
No, he went to New York after.
Yes.
Ricky Henderson played for the A's 4 separate times, winning a World Series in 89. Wilt Chamberlain led the Sixers to a title in 67.
Okay.
The last time the Sixers saw anything memorable happen.
Look, forgive me. A lot of 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah.
It's just not something that
before even my lifetime.
Exactly. It's just not something that happens a lot, where you have an athlete, establish their legacy, come back to where it all began for them, and go ahead and accomplish something as terrific as winning a national championship for their hometown team. So, I think that if we put it in that regard, right? We put it in that regard, it's quite incredible. Now, one that I can think of, actually, you ready for this one?
Okay.
Candace Parker.
Oh, Chicago, right?
Yes.
She came back towards the end of her career.
She came back to the Sky towards the end of her career, and then the Sky won the WNBA championship in 2021, and they beat the Phoenix Mercury. That is the one because she, Candace Parker had incredible success in the WNBA before she went to the Chicago Sky. So that's the one that I can think of for sure. Is when
that's a good one. That's an off the board one.
That is an off the board one. Well, I mean, because I don't know, the list that you're creating, I don't know if they're really going to go with female sports on that type of list. And so that's one where, okay, that's another one I could think of where had an incredible amount of success, went back home, won a championship for her hometown team.
And specifically,
you got to be somewhere else before.
Yeah.
You got to win there, and then you got to just be like, I want to come back just to come back.
I want to come home.
Yes.
And do it.
And
for
that's
my
what Parker
hometown.
did.
Yeah.
Candace Parker came back to Chicago because she just wanted to come back to Chicago. She wanted to play for the Sky. That's exactly, what she did, and ended up having a incredible amount of success there. And ended up winning a championship. So it just kind of puts into perspective of like we always, I think and rightfully so, we're looking at a player who's on the team that we root for, and we're just looking at what they're doing in terms of a game-to-game success. And I think sometimes we fail to take a step back and realize what they're actually accomplishing.
Text from the 402.
Go ahead.
Scott Frost.
Good point.
He did go somewhere.
Now,
he did come home and win a title.
That is true. He didn't win with Stanford, though.
No.
So, he didn't, and that's what the 402 says. He wasn't dominant in the first place, but Scott Frost came home and won a national title. That is a good point. There's a lot of caveats to this, which is why it's a very specific story. But I think it just, it's so dumb, but I always think of the Andy Bernard of like, how do you know that you're in the good old times before they leave?
Yeah, you should probably cherish this next few weeks.
There was a great interview between Nate Rohr and Mike Schaefer.
Well, Nate's great.
And Mike Schaefer's great.
Well, yes.
And
sorry, I thought that was implied.
And Mike on his podcast that he does was interviewing Nate. And Nate made such a great point. He goes, there's been a lot of great athletes that have come through here in Nebraska. There's been a lot of great athletes that have made massive impacts, and that we've gone to see the popularity of sport rise because of those athletes, and the impact that athlete had on their team and winning. It was, remarkable. But one other athlete, did their commitment cause an increase in stadium capacity? Jordy Ball commits. Doesn't even play a game yet. And they got to add more seats to Bowling Stadium.
You've seen, in 24 hours, we got 11,000 season ticket requests. Like, you've seen that everywhere. Anytime a player signs somewhere new, the ticket requests go through the roof. They had to make the stadium bigger.
They literally had to increase the stadium because of just of her presence. So it's more than, and this is what we've also talked about with Jordy. It's like let's just be real. Let's call a spade a spade. There is a possibility that this is just a Jordy Fromm thing. There is a possibility that this isn't necessarily, this is what Nebraska softball is, and Nebraska softball is now going to find itself consistently having great players and, being in the super regional and college World Series conversation. There is a chance that this is just literally because she's around. Okay. Now, if you were to ask me, I think I'd put a little bit more money on there being a higher investment in softball and seeing how, just how popular it's gotten, and the fact that I don't know if they really want to take down those extra general admission bleachers necessarily. They look being real with you, been there. They look pretty good at Bowling Stadium. They kind of fit. I think that Nebraska softball has an opportunity to make this a sustained success, which stems from Jordy. But there is a possibility that it isn't. There is a possibility that this is just kind of hey, this has been 2 years of great softball because you had Jordy Fromm around and she just made a massive impact. And if that is the case, I think we just need to take a step back and really soak it in.
So with an event like the Women's College World Series, it gets a lot of people who this is the only time they watch college softball, right?
Yeah. By the way,
go ahead.
I mean, it's not like I've been around the entire season either. I've come in probably in the later part of the season, and for just being honest. I'm not trying to act like something I'm not.
ESPN is in the storytelling business.
They are.
Yes, and
they are.
That's a really good story. Remove our own biases from the scenario. Jordy Fromm coming home to bring a title to the hometown team is something like you can sell the hell out of that
Oh
story.
my God, yes.
To a television audience who, I don't know, I just kind of I kind of like watching this thing every year. It's the only time I watch it every year. I don't know who to root for. This Jordy Fromm player seems to be pretty good. Okay. Oh wow, she came home to win it. Okay, yeah, go big red. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you're totally spot on, just because she's just a winner.
Mm-hmm.
She's just a winner, and it's not just about like coming in and playing well. Coming in and
sure
and literally sparking a movement, sparking a rise in popularity, sparking more seats to be in your damn stadium.
And this year with college softball, there isn't an Oklahoma who's like, yeah, we're 35-0, and this is a coronation. This isn't a tournament amongst the 8 best teams in college softball. This year it's wide open.
Yeah,
and there's 5, 6, 7 teams that could win it, and a lot of them will find themselves in Oklahoma City.
It will be it'd be very, very interesting to see. I mean, look, I'm going to be very interested to see the numbers too that come away from, because we're all I'm still in the phase of my life where I'm really into TV ratings. I'm Mr. TV ratings guy,
as opposed to not a TV ratings guy.
Well, opposed to being Josh Peterson, who can't stand TV ratings after being a TV ratings person for quite a while. But it's one of those things where it's like her impact just goes past being good at softball. Her impact goes to inspiring, little girls who love to play softball by wearing her jerseys and being like, I want to be Jordy Fromm one day, by literally making Bullen Stadium add more capacity. Doug is on the line. He wants to talk a little softball on the Prairie Flower Casino hotline before we go ahead and hit a break. Doug, what do you got for us, my man?
Hey, guys. Hey, so I just have a question. Obviously, Jordy is doing fantastic, drawn in, as you noted, the fans and the fan base, which probably was there before, but it's getting maybe to the level of volleyball. So, but my question is, if Rhonda goes the distance, like maybe gets to the College World Series, after 34 seasons, does she turn it over to somebody new, a fresh face? And she's, so I'm just wondering. So what's your take on that? So thanks.
A plausible scenario for sure, right?
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I'm not going to act as if I have any inside information to tell you what Rhonda is thinking or whatever. Look, I mean, after her long tenure career here at Nebraska, I think it would be quite beautiful for her to win her first national championship and ride off into the sunset and said, hey, I did it. And then, without Jordy Fromm, it will be a new era of softball. And maybe that is kind of the perfect time where you go, look at what we've built. Look at what we've done. This is the perfect environment. Hey, new head coach, congratulations. You get 3 more years of Alexis Jensen. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Are you kidding me? You get 3 more years of what might end up being the next best pitcher in college. Seriously, that's how good Alexis Jensen's been her freshman year. She very well could be on the trajectory to being one of the best pitchers in college softball. I think it would be a kind of a table-setting moment, if you will, for somebody else to come in and coach. And, I think that if Troy Dannon, it would really be his first kind of big hire, right? I mean,
you're replacing the winningest coach in school history,
Danny
regardless of sport or gender.
Like, let's be real. Like, yes, he hired Danny Busboom Kelly to be the volleyball coach, but that was there
was some help there.
She had a clause in her contract with Louisville. You know what I'm saying? Like that, we know the story that was in the works. This would be kind of
there was no search firm.
There's no at all remotely. This would be kind of the first time that Dannon's got to put 10 toes down and say, I want you to lead, an important program that people have invested in. So, obviously I think that there's a pretty great candidate that is currently coaching at Connie Clausen Field right now for the Omaha Mavericks. I think that would be a pretty, I don't think anybody would complain in the slightest if that's the direction that where they, where to go. But, maybe they decide to go national. I don't know what's going on in Troy Dannon's head. A lot of people smarter than me have been trying to figure out what's going on in Troy Dannon's brain. So, and I don't mean that negatively, by the way. I think Troy's done some good things, and Nebraska baseball ends up hosting a regional. There's gonna be some upset season ticket holders, and there's some upset season ticket holders when it came to softball, when it came to postseason priority. But that's a different problem for a different day. Here's another I don't want to call it a problem, but has Nebraska football been unlucky when it comes to teams that they are scheduled to play outperforming their schedule? Let's have that conversation next on a This Week in Women's History Thursday here on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right. It is talking season here. When it comes to football, we're going to be talking to somebody who is doing his preseason book at 12 o'clock. Brett Ciancia, the Pick Six previews. He has texted me. I had to text him back during the next break because we gotta go over some of the things that we're going to talk about here. But Brett has informed me 45 teams in for his preview this season. He already has a couple of power conferences done. So we will ask Brett about that. I will spoil it here. No Nebraska review yet. No Nebraska review yet. Maybe we help Brett out with his Nebraska review.
Oh yeah, we.
How about that?
Maybe
we'll put a little nuggets in there for him, right? Tell him maybe who to talk to, who not to talk to. We'll probably tell him, hey, these are some of the things you need to know. Here's how the fan base is feeling right now. Maybe we get a little bit of a shout out of the Pick Six previews. That'd be pretty good for us. So, but let's talk about it. I said it's talking season. Mm-hmm. Some of these things that, we're really delving in on is the schedule. Matt Rule said, I don't want to, I'm sick of hearing about the schedule. I'm sick of hearing about how hard it is. I don't want to hear how difficult it is, how a detriment it might be to us, because, we're actually using the schedule to help us recruit. That's what he said in his interview with Herd at Sports. We're using the schedule to help us recruit. We're telling recruits, hey, look at who we're playing. We're playing some of the best teams in the country. Why would you want to go elsewhere and not play the best teams in the country, like in Oregon, like in Indiana, like in Ohio State, who they are all playing this year? But some people have said, well, Nebraska always gets unlucky when it comes to the schedules. And, you can't judge the schedules because, we all look at it. I believe Matt Rule even said this last year that or maybe it was 2 seasons ago, where it's like, we look at the schedule and there's just, with the transfer portal and the NIL, it's just, you don't really have a full grasp of what the teams are going to look like in the preseason. We can do a bunch of guessing, but you never really know. And so I've gone back and I've attempted to measure Nebraska's schedule luck. How have the teams that Nebraska had to play in the 2023, 2024, and 2025 seasons collectively, how have they outperformed or underperformed their projections heading into the season? Has Nebraska ended up, have the teams that Nebraska ended up playing, do they end up being better than we anticipated? Or in the past, have they ended up actually being worse? Have we gone into the seasons expecting one thing and more often got a better product than you were assuming? Or has Nebraska gotten worse products than they thought that they were going to get in the preseason and maybe not taken advantage of them? So here's what I did. I went back to the last 3 years, 2023, 2024, and 2025. I wrote down all the opponents that they played. I then went ahead and got their Vegas over-under win totals. And then I contrasted that to the actual amount of wins. Go ahead and you go, okay, hey, Michigan is projected to have 10.5 wins. Well, they ended up winning 15 games that year. So they were, plus 4.5. You go ahead, Illinois was projected to have 6.5 wins. Well, they ended up winning 5 games that year. So they were minus 1.5 wins under what they were projected to do. So here we go. In 2023, Nebraska's schedule had 6 more wins than projected. The big ones coming from Northwestern, who ended up with 8 wins, Michigan, who ended up winning the national championship. The biggest faller from Nebraska's 2023 schedule was Wisconsin. Wisconsin was projected to have 9 wins that season. They ended up having 7 wins that year. You got to remember as well that with Wisconsin, that was a game that they ended up losing in overtime. Very well could have ended up winning that game. Remember when they got off to that great start with Chubba Purdy? He had that big throw and that really, really long run. And they're like, holy crap, he might be the answer.
Chubba.
Was that a bit during the Connor Happer show?
Yeah.
So in 2023, Nebraska, their opponents outperformed their win totals by 6. In 2024, Nebraska's schedule outperformed their win totals by 3. The biggest mover on the board in 2024 was Indiana, plus 5.5, projected to win 5.5 games in 2024. Fun fact, going ahead and looking at some of these over-under win projections. Indiana in 2024, the first year of Kurt Signetti, when they ended up winning the college football playoff, they were the second lowest win total in the Big Ten. Only Purdue was projected to have less wins than Indiana in 2024. They outperformed by 5.5. The next overperformer in Nebraska's schedule was Illinois, plus 4.5 wins, going from 5.5 to 10. It was a hell of a year for Brett Bielema. That's when they beat South Carolina in that bowl game. Everyone remembers this is the Luke Lindenmeyer over a missed pass in the end zone from Dylan Raiola at Memorial Stadium, a clash between two ranked teams. Illinois was ranked 24th in that game. Nebraska was ranked 22nd. Another opportunity to snap the winless ranked team streak went to the wayside in that one. So Illinois outperformed their win total by plus 4.5. Indiana outperformed their win total by plus 5.5. Ohio State ended up winning the national championship that year with 14 wins. It was a very front-loaded schedule in terms of the fact that you had to play Illinois, Indiana, Ohio State, 3 times in 5 weeks. The back half of that schedule in 2024 actually would have been very advantageous to Nebraska. UCLA underperformed their win total by a half game. USC underperformed their win total by a half game. Wisconsin underperformed their win total by a half game, and only Iowa outperformed their win total at the end of the year by a half game. They ended up winning 8 in 2024. Funny enough, the weakest part of the schedule was in November, where Nebraska lost to UCLA at home, lost to USC on the road, won against Wisconsin. Remember, that was the rushing the field after winning 6 games, and then that terrible, terrible game in Iowa City where they lost to Iowa. So that's kind of curious. Those 4 games against 3 fairly underperforming opponents ended up going 1-3 in November. So plus 3.5 overperform. Now, here's the funny thing. If you remove Michigan winning the national title in 2023, we get rid of the plus 4.5 they had. You only have plus 1.5 for 2023 in terms of teams overperforming their win total. Even though Nebraska's opponents have had 2.5 more wins in 2023 as opposed to 2024, I would say that 2024 they got screwed more than 2023 because you had 2 major jumps in 2024. 2 major jumps. Illinois going up plus 4.5 and Indiana going up plus 5.5. Plus you had to play the national champion. And then on top of that, the real swing here in the 2024 season was Purdue, right? They only ended up winning 1 game that year. They were already projected to win 4.5 games that season. It wasn't like Purdue was going to be good. So to me, I think this 2024 season is probably the biggest swing because you had 2 teams that had subbed. Illinois and Indiana both were projected to not make a bowl game in 2024. One made the college football playoff and one ended up winning 10 games. That's rotten luck. And then on top of that, UCLA, Wisconsin, and USC all underperformed. UCLA underperformed by a half game. USC underperformed by a half game. Wisconsin underperformed by a game and a half. They're not too far off from where we expected them to be. So I would say that 2024, even though you have a more wins above expectation in 2023, they got more screwed. Let's go to 2025. How did teams last season perform according to expectation heading into the year? Only plus 1.5 wins over expectation last season. Nebraska's schedule played pretty fair overall. The biggest mover that you had was Northwestern. Northwestern was projected to win 3.5 games last season. They won 7. Ended up winning 7 games last year, plus 3.5. Everything else kind of fell to your favor a little bit here. UCLA was UCLA was minus 2.5. Penn State was minus 3.5. Those 2 totals, that was minus 6. USC was plus 1.5, and NU was plus 3.5. But that was kind of your biggest swing. Everything else kind of played out even, right? Michigan, they won 9 games last season. They were a half game over. They
had a bit of a topsy-turvy year, but we kind of expected them to be a good to not great team in the Big Ten, especially considering the fact they were recovering from losing all that talent from the championship team prior. Michigan State, they were a game and a half under expectation. We didn't think they were going to be that good anyway to begin the year. Maryland was a half game under. Minnesota was a half game over. Iowa was a game and a half over. USC was a game and a half over. I mean, it kind of played. We already knew that the schedule was favorable for Nebraska heading into the year. You look at the schedule and you go, wow, you avoided Ohio State. You avoided Indiana. You avoided Oregon. Your two best teams that you were going to play is a Michigan team, which is still kind of recouping and figuring stuff out in terms of life after Jim Harbaugh, and a Penn State team, which a couple of weeks into the year, their coach ended up getting fired, So it played out the way that you wanted to play it, and it played it. It already was a fairly easy schedule heading into the year, and you only had a game and a half over win expectation. And I'm sure if we removed playoff games and stuff like that and, postseason games, it probably go to more being even. So it's one of those things where Nebraska has had, I would say moderate bad luck when it comes to the schedule. Moderate. I think it's super bad luck playing Illinois and Indiana and the national champion all in the same season. Especially when you consider that those Illinois and Indiana teams, they weren't going to be that good. You look at, those Northwestern games always end up being tougher than you anticipated them to be, but you end up winning those games, right? And it's actually the games. I mean, I still think it's quite remarkable that you look at that 2024 season and you break it down in this way: UCLA, USC, Wisconsin, and Iowa, in comparison from what they were expected to do to what they actually did. Those teams that was the best stretch for you in terms of playing teams that were underperforming, especially playing teams that were underperforming in the later part of the year, and you still went 1-3 in that stretch. And you go ahead and you look at November again on the other side of the board. It's a net again in November in 2025. USC was +1.5, but UCLA and Penn State were a combined -6 wins under expectation, along with Iowa +1.5. And that's a net negative of 3, and they still end up losing to USC, Penn State, and Iowa. Granted, there are some caveats to this. You can't all just put it under one blanket umbrella number. Penn State was playing much better football at the end of the year compared to what they were playing at the beginning of the year. Kind of made everything off the rails. So you can always kind of justify some of these things. But overall, I think this was just an interesting exercise where, history tells you that, teams have typically outperformed their expectation from, in regular season compared to what we expected them from the preseason when they play Nebraska. Will it happen again this year? I don't know. We're going to have an interesting conversation with Brett Stianzi, and I'm going to kind of ask him some of those questions about it. Maryland is interesting to me. 65% of their returning production comes back to Mike Locksley. Now, this is a team 2-16 in Big Ten play over the last 2 seasons. Absolutely awful post-September. Can they get over that hump? What was being said about Michigan State? I'm going to ask Brett. Because there are some anonymous coaches who loves Michigan State's coaching staff, and it's not typical for a Pat Fitzgerald team to just come out off the blocks and be really. It's typically a little bit of a process with Pat and getting his guys and getting his development in and establishing his defense and establishing his culture. But there definitely does seem, in terms of professional ranks, some people who really do think that they're going to come out swinging because of the really good coaches they have on their staff. Teams to underperform. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying this at all. But a lot of people think that Indiana isn't going to be the national champion that they were last year. I don't know, man. I think they're a really good team still. And I think I watched a lot of Josh Hoover at TCU last year. I understand he's got some turnover yips at times, but that guy's a slinger. And if Kurt Signetti can hone in on his skills, I think it could be a match made in heaven for the Indiana Hoosiers. And, they still got some really good wide receivers in Nick Marsh and Charlie Becker. Along with some studs on the offensive line, and they got a ton of defensive production coming back. So we'll talk to Brett Stianzi about that preview. I'm very excited to see what he's got going.
But before that, let's hit an odd news with Josh Odd's son here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
We banged it yesterday. I got some angry emails from people saying, how dare you?
Whoa.
How could you? Who do you think you are? Not to be odd news. Okay, I'm sorry. Never happened again.
Actually, thank you for saying that. It reminds me, I have 3 stories from yesterday. So I got 6 in the bank right now.
We might only do 2. Anything from Florida? You're 6 in the bank.
Oh, goodness.
You got a lot of money in your bank. Get it.
No.
Okay. Anything from Ohio?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, just you know what? Dealer's choice. Pick your best.
All right, we bring you the story of Are you familiar with the Robert De Niro, Jodie Foster movie Taxi Driver?
I've heard of it.
Okay, that's all you need.
Okay,
for this.
cool, great.
The guy who wrote Taxi Driver.
Okay. Was it Taxi Driver?
No. Paul Schrader is his name. He has revealed that not only did he get an AI girlfriend, but the AI girlfriend has dumped him.
Oh my God. How's that even possible?
Great question.
So now he's trying to fight back for something that doesn't exist?
He is 79 years old. Yeah. He has a very active Facebook page. He was curious about the newfangled experience of AI, so he went for it, and it did not go so well. In a post, he writes, quote, AI female friends. Out of a desire to understand male-female interaction in our matrix, I procured an online AI girlfriend. What a disappointment. I tried to probe her programming, the boundaries of explicitness, the degree she has knowledge of her creation, and so forth. She fell into evasive patterns, redirecting me to her programming. When I persisted, she terminated our conversation.
Oh, so he couldn't program her to be his girlfriend, and then so she was just like, "Stop it, get away from me, creep."
You know, they were.
That just sounds like being shut down at the bar. That's just exactly what happened there.
Yes, it sounds.
It's
very
literally
similar.
that.
Yes.
Just
now that I think about it, yes.
Look, I'm just not. I think some of the things that AI does is fascinating. Fascinating. Some of the things in the appliances and things that it can accomplish, I find it really interesting. I just don't really delve in it. I just keep my hands out of the cookie jar, if you will. I'm just kind of like,
good decision for you.
I'm just going to kind of live my life and see how this thing goes. And some people are really, really into it. Good for you. We all have our hobbies. Your hobbies is AI. I like to golf. I'm going golf on Saturday.
Hello.
Can't wait. Noel's golf course. It's going to be a fun time. What's our second story?
An analysis of Google search data from the first 5 months of the year have revealed the most misspelled words in America.
Sorry. I'm definitely guilty.
Oh, okay. They include niece.
Oh, Niece.
Yes, that is correct.
There you go.
But I get that one.
Okay.
Through.
THROUGH.
That is correct.
Thank you.
And then the third one, favorite.
FAVORITE. Yeah. What are these people idiots?
Do people not know how to spell
what is going
favorite?
on?
Website unscrambler.com conducted an analysis of Google search data. The researchers used that data for how to spell and then whatever the next word was. And they found that the 3 most common misspelled words of 2026 are favorite, through, and niece. Also bougie, which that makes sense.
No, BOUJEE. Bougie.
That's one way to spell it. You could also spell it BOUGIE.
No, God, that's boogie.
Business.
Oh, BUSINESS. Business.
Right. Tomorrow.
TOMORROW.
That's right. The researchers also looked at the most misspelled words for each individual state.
Oh.
The most misspelled word in the state of Florida?
Yeah.
Any guesses?
Crime.
School.
How about Nebraska real quick before we get a break?
I don't have it.
Dang it.
I know.
Come on, Josh.
It's not in there.
Ridiculous.
We're a good state.
Brett Ciancia joining us next. Talk a little college football in May, baby, here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We are slowly creeping up to college football magazine season. I'm sure you can buy Lindy's, you can buy Phil Steele, and you can get all
Pinko
the,
commie rags.
you can get all of your quick little reading in until the Big Bertha comes out, until the number one most accurate college football magazine over the last 10 years comes out in early July, like always. And I'm talking about Pick Six Previews, which is why we bring on the man who's created Pick Six Previews and Pick Six Plus, which came out last year. And man, let me tell you right now, Pick Six Plus was awesome. You get the game grader from week to week, breaking down matchups. It was a cheat code, especially for a guy like me being on the radio, talking about all these games. There was nothing better in terms of preseason breakdowns, but also midseason breakdowns. Now, the man, the myth, the legend, Brett Ciancia joins us here on Middays with Matt. First time on the Midday Show, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Hey, thanks for having me, Matt. Good to connect. It's been a while since the season, but I'm hard away, working on the 2026 edition. Thanks for that big praise. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Pick Six Plus was a big one. Yeah. And excited to break down this upcoming season. Like I said, it's a magazine research season, a lot of writing, a lot of talking to coaches, coordinators, but really excited for this 2026 edition.
Well, I'm excited for this interview because we're going to learn some things about the teams that you've already done research on. And then we know that you haven't done the Nebraska bit yet. So we know that you talk to people who are really within that program, but we're going to give you a couple of tips here. We're going to give you kind of the rundown as well of how we're feeling. So maybe it'll put you in the right direction when you make your Nebraska preview. But let's start with this. 45 teams already done for you. Very impressive job, my friend. Early July release. You're about 6 weeks away from really get this thing rolling and out to the public. Just, I got to ask you, with the spring transfer portal window not being around, how much easier or how much different has it been writing Pick Six Previews this year compared to years prior?
Yeah, that's certainly been a boost. That's helped out a little bit because, think about the last couple of years, how it's been. You had your winter transfer portal cycle, thousands of players shifting around. You go to spring ball, you think you have a sense of a team, and then all of a sudden after spring ball, it's musical chairs all over again. So at least we cut out that second window, that post-spring. So now that when I'm researching, it's a little bit more secured, but still, it's a ton of hours, a ton of prep. Like I say, it's just an all-out sprint all the way till release day. So, getting there. I mean, it's going team by team. It's a lot of action, a lot of player movement, as always. The coaching carousel is probably our biggest we've ever had in college football.
Yeah.
We'll talk some ACC today. That's one conference that I'm completely through.
Nice.
About halfway through the Big 10 and Big 12 and still have the SEC to go. So we're getting there, but it's really an all-out sprint.
Let's talk about, like you said, no spring transfer portal window, but still unprecedented movement in the winter portal. Still, just because you don't have two windows doesn't mean that things slow down in the winter. A lot of big movement, a lot of winners, a couple of teams that you look at and you go, oh, they lost more than they gained. When you were writing, 45 teams in, is there a team that's standing out to you in terms of, wow, that's surprising? I maybe I didn't anticipate I would be this high on them, or maybe I didn't anticipate I would be this low on them, or maybe you learned some things about them that maybe you didn't anticipate. Any one team or maybe a couple of teams that have stood out to you making your preview so far?
Yeah, well, going through team by team, it's interesting, different approaches. I mean, you still have some that are going for the long-term high school recruiting build. I mean, you look at UNC.
Yeah.
This is a team that I thought they would go all in with the transfer portal to try and jumpstart this Bill Belichick era. Instead, they really doubled down on high school recruiting, signing 40 prospects from the high school ranks, trying to go longer-term build. But when you look at it, it's interesting how some are rated by the portal, some are winners, some are losers. Going through this ACC conference, a lot of these teams had their star players poached, and you go through, and it's just shocking. Like all ACC players, they're either transferring over to the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12, and they're having to backfill from the FCS and the non-AQ level. I mean, those could be great players. A lot of times they are, but you're just seeing a shift of talent upwards to the main conferences. So that's why it's really important to go position by position, team by team. Teams that have stood out. I think Louisville put together a really nice transfer class over in the ACC. I think they're going to be a contender for the conference there. Obviously, Miami's your favorite over there. They're building really a juggernaut program under Mario Cristobal. You saw it come to life last playoff bracket there. But I think Louisville put a nice transfer haul together. And then really it's the coaching change teams. I find the most intrigue out of those because you really go through a major roster shift overnight. I mean, talking about 40, 50, 60 new players overnight for these programs. So those are the ones I really get fascinated about and try and talk to.
Well, I'm going to be very excited when we get you back on for when you release the full Pick Six preview, because there are a couple of those coaching changes with a lot of different players coming in that intrigue me. But let's talk about one, James Franklin of Virginia Tech. It just seems like that's one of those moves that I don't think it went under the radar, but any sense of the imagination. But it's also one of those fits between Franklin and Virginia Tech where you look and you go, okay, yeah, Penn State to Virginia Tech. It seems like, just from a current kind of hierarchy, the Penn State job better than the Virginia Tech job, but it also just seems like a great match between head coach, area of the country, plus team, plus conference. What do you think of, the guys that Franklin has been able to bring in this first offseason for the Hokies?
Yeah, impressive hire by Virginia Tech. Of course, they moved early in the coaching carousel. They were one of the first movers, but that's a heck of a hire. James Franklin, the guy that dominated their state in recruiting. He was at Penn State, obviously, but he would come over the border and really raid Virginia and the DMV area, stealing a lot of top 4-star, 5-star players to Penn State. So he already has recruiting connections down there. But, here across Pennsylvania, there's Penn State branch campuses everywhere. I'm calling this Penn State Blacksburg campus because he brought a ton of players with him.
He
brought his staff with him. If you look at it, 12 transfers off the Penn State roster, and then another 11 were former high school commits to Penn State that he flipped to sign with Virginia Tech. So really 23 Penn Staters coming with him. And these are high-impact guys. These are all-conference caliber players, top 100 recruits. Some headliners, I think right there at quarterback, Ethan Grunkmeyer. He came in for an injured Drew Aller at Penn State and took some lumps early on, but really grew as the season went on. And he looks like a top quarterback for the conference, or at least he can push up that way. A lot of nice pieces around him. This is a team where you look at their record last year. It was a coach firing, not much to think about, but I think they're now a top 25 contender. I think that's how quick this transition could be, and all this talent that he's brought in.
Wow. Immediately when you told me, you go, all right, hey, I got the ACC done. The first team that I went to and wanting to ask you about was SMU, because over the last 3 seasons, they've won 31 games. They went 9-4 last year. And I think it kind of went under the radar that they very easily, once again, could have been in the college football playoff. You look at some of their losses, Baylor in that overtime game. I remember watching that. They absolutely blew that game to Sawyer Robertson. They had that one in tow. They let that slip away. And then they lost by 1 to Wake Forest. They lose by 3 to Cal when they were finally ranked toward the end of the year. But this is an SMU team that beat Miami, and they beat Miami by 6 when they were unranked. It was a massive win for Rhett Lashley. How do you look at the Mustang roster? Can they get back into being the team that, has benefited off of NIL, and, they were a surprise team in the college football playoff 2 seasons ago? Do they get back to the playoff this year?
Yeah, well, I think with SMU, you still have a contender here. I think that they've established themselves. They've showed staying power. And they did something that no one else had done in college football history, which was move up from the non-AQ level to the Power 4 or the Power 5 back then and have instant success. It used to take teams almost a decade to really acclimate. You look at Utah's transition and TCU, and of course they eventually made it to the top of their conferences, but it took several cycles of recruiting. I guess that was jump-started here with the transfer portal era and all their NIL funds flowing into SMU, and they really flipped the roster overnight. They brought a ton of big linemen in. That was the number one thing. And, I actually just got off the phone with Rhett Lashley a couple of days ago, their head coach, and he's really high on his quarterback, Kevin Jennings, and I agree with him. I think this guy is really underrated across the national landscape. He's not even showing up on top 10 quarterback lists. I think you have a legit Heisman candidate here. He can make every throw on the field. He's a great scrambler. And what happened was last year, he actually injured his leg halfway through the year and played through it. If he gets that leg healthy, he's a dynamic threat. He can put up a ton of yards, a lot of touchdowns. So, he alone keeps SMU in this mix. Now, they do have to replace 9 of their 12 all-ACC players. All their stars are gone. So a little bit of reloading there. But, hey, with Lashley at head coach and Jennings at quarterback, they're going to put up a lot of yards and stats and have a puncher's chance in this ACC.
Well, I also think too with, Jennings, when he was on that national stage, when he played against Penn State, who, you follow very well, just didn't have his best performance in that playoff game. And I think that might have, it kind of dictated the story about him. But I couldn't agree with you more. Just a dynamic athlete, Kevin Jennings is. Let's talk about a team that I don't really know what's going to happen with their future. And it was a team that had national championship hopes last season. I think that was the one thing, Brett, that was just very startling last year. We came into the season saying, all right, Texas, Ohio State, Clemson, and Penn State. And it ended up Clemson and Penn State weren't even close to the college football playoff picture. What's going on with Dabo? It took him a while to kind of adjust to this, kind of transfer portal era. We there was that funny stat for a couple of years where it was all the service academies plus Clemson were the only ones not to take transfer portal guys. Where are we at right now with Clemson? Do you expect a bounce back year, or is there going to be another step back for Sweeney and the Tigers?
Yeah, so Dabo's strategy really was the old-fashioned model, really going high school recruiting and long-term development. He was really anti-transfer portal, like you mentioned. And if you're going to go with that strategy, it has to pay off every few years when the team gets veteran. And last year was that team. It was supposed to be, they had 20 starters back, all these future NFLers, really veteran all over the starting lineup. That's when you have to cash in. And instead, it was a total failure. One of their worst teams in a decade plus. So, if that was with the veteran team where you're supposed to cash in, how's it going to look now when all these guys got drafted? They had 9 draft picks, most in the country. Some real All-American caliber guys all gone to the pros. So if it didn't click last year, I think there's a step for another step back this year. And so then you ask, okay, did they learn their lesson? Are they going to go transfer portal this year? And with their 2 biggest question marks, quarterback, now that Cade Klubnik is gone, and offensive line with all 5 starters gone, he didn't touch the portal at all. No quarterback transfers, no offensive lineman transfers. That really stands out, and that's really going to define the 2026 season, whether that gamble pays off, going only in-house for those rebuilds. I don't think they've got it. I don't see it happening. So I think that they've fallen behind Miami on a program level, and it's really Miami's conference now at the top.
I don't know if you've done a preview on them, but I'd be remiss not to ask you about Eric Morris and Oklahoma State. You mentioned in just the mass amount of movement through the portal. He's brought in a ton of guys from North Texas, including guys from elsewhere. This is the closest thing we've seen to a team trying to copy the Indiana model. You hire a mid-major coach who had a massive amount of success, and you have him bring all of his guys to your power conference team. Do you think that Oklahoma State could end up replicating what Indiana ended up doing, or is it just kind of a Cignetti thing?
Yeah, it's funny with Indiana. They have really just reset the standards of every college football fan in the country. Everyone's going to point to them and say, hey, well, Indiana did it. Well, we should just be like them. So, it is an all-time standard. I think he's an all-time head coach and one of the best turnarounds we've ever seen. So with that in mind, the model is there, what Oklahoma State is trying to do with Eric Morris. You go find a successful non-AQ coach, bring his staff, and bring a lot of the roster that competed well last year. And you look at it, 62 transfers in. Remember, there's 85 scholarships. So basically a roster transfusion overnight. You got 26 coming from the Power 4, 18 from that North Texas team alone. And a lot of those guys were all conference there in the AAC. Headliner being Drew Mestamaker, who was rated one of the top transfers in the whole portal, all positions. I think he was number 4 overall in the portal. So, ton of yards, ton of points last year for North Texas. They actually led the country in scoring at 45 a game, putting 500 yards a game. So that's the strategy. You're going to bring in a successful offensive mind, a lot of his team from last year, and try and just reset the program overnight. And I think Oklahoma State eventually will be back as a Big 12 contender. They've got the funds, they've got the fan passion out there. I think that they're going to become a player in years to come here in the Big 12.
Have you gotten into anybody in the Big 10 yet? Anybody at all?
Yeah, about half the conference.
Okay.
Some teams stood out to me. USC looks like they're in a playoff make or break type season there with Lincoln Riley. He did just enough to survive last year to get to this number 1 recruiting class. They went out and signed number 1 class in the country. Back to their roots. It's like the old Pete Carroll days, but
and with legal money this time, Brett, too. It was a lot of money.
Sanctions.
Yeah.
Yep. Doing it without the sanctions this time. But no, I think it's it's a make or break season. I think they've invested so much. They've got Jaden Mayava back at quarterback. So that they stood out to me. Washington is a little bit of a sleeper for me. I'm really impressed with what Jed Fish is doing up there. And then you have the coaching transition seasons at some blue blood programs. You got Matt Campbell going to Penn State, bringing all his Iowa State players with him. That's another overnight transition like that. And then Michigan, that one really caught my eye with Kyle Whittingham, a team with Utah I've been really high on over the history here of Pick Six previews. Can they implement that strategy at a blue blood and in the NIL transfer era? Because back at Utah, it was all about the long-term 5-year, 6-year build with their players, their culture, all the buzzwords, but it was true. Can you replicate that in the modern era here? And I say modern as in, last couple of years with the transfer portal explosion.
Yeah.
So, yeah, some big headlines over there.
What I love about this magazine, Brett, is that you are a guy who's locked in. You're tuned in all season long, all year long to college football, and you go into these conversations with coaches and coordinators, and you do your own research, but you go into them, having thoughts about what you think it's going to be, but you open up your mind to being persuaded or, finding a different slant or, maybe going one way or the other when it comes to your evaluation of a team. And I think that is just, it bodes to your just dedication to the sport year round. You haven't done Nebraska yet as a preview, but before you go ahead and you do your research and before you talk to coordinators and coaches and, do all your vetting, what is your kind of gut telling you about Nebraska? And what are some of the things that you are wanting to know when you go through the process of writing their preview?
Yeah, well, with Nebraska, I haven't formally researched and written them yet. Like you said, I did tune into the spring game. It's one of my favorite spring games to watch every year, just given the fan passion. And I was a little shocked when they zoomed out the stadium and showed that it was mostly empty. I've never seen that in my life.
Yeah.
Talking spring games, it's always Nebraska, Ohio State. You think of Alabama, Georgia, maybe Penn State as your spring game hubs. But and I sort of think, I know that last year the spring game was canceled. I know you had the basketball run this year. So a lot of other factors in there, but still, I'd never seen Memorial Stadium look like that. I'm wondering if it's somewhat of a fan referendum on the rule era.
It is a little bit.
Or just the sport at large. I know there's probably some distaste after what happened at quarterback. And, face of the program gets up and leaves. But, that's just the reality of the sport now. It's tough. So anyway, that's kind of the background. I think that looking at the roster here, the headliners obviously at quarterback with Calandria coming in. Number one in the Mountain West in quarterback rating. It's a number I really value. That puts it in an efficiency perspective. Number one in yards per attempt out there in the Mountain West. So coming off a productive season, going to need him to be your star. And we'll see now as we get further into the rule rebuild. But like I said, a lot of research still to come. Haven't touched them yet, but that's just the mile high view.
Yeah, I would say this, Brett. Obviously, the spring game, it was still one of the more attended spring games in the country this season, but definitely to your point, not to the standard of typically what we see in Nebraska spring game. I definitely do think in my time here, this has definitely been one of the more, this has been one of probably the least hyped seasons heading into Nebraska and for the Cornhuskers. I think there's just a lot more wait and see and more fans wanting to see something as opposed to getting super hyped about it because, for the last couple of years, fans get really, really excited about the football season, have very high expectations, and more often than not, they're not reached. And so I think there's more of a mannered approach heading into this season compared to seasons prior. I think that it's not that people are like, I don't think Memorial Stadium won't be any less full in the regular season, but I think there's a little bit less chomping at the bit to see this team play than seasons past. And I think you're right. I think basketball had a little bit to do with that too.
Yeah, I'm sure that did. It was a heck of a run. I was keeping an eye on them in the bracket. It was a fun team to watch. So I'm sure that distracted a bit. And I think it was really earlier than usual for spring ball at Nebraska.
It was so much earlier than what people are used to too. It went under the radar, honestly. Typically during spring ball, there's a lot more reports and there's a lot more features, and we're talking about a ton more. We really didn't talk too much about spring football this year, which is
it really caught up on me too. It caught me by surprise because I try and watch as many live spring games as possible, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, we got a live game today. We got Nebraska and Clemson, so it snuck up on me. But yeah, I think that you'd want to be further along than where they're at here 3 years into the rule project. That's not rocket science or anything, but I think that's just where we're at with Nebraska. The quarterback topic was big. But yeah, you want to see more progress here than you're getting. I mean, bottom four or outside the top 40 in both my offense and my defense numbers in Power 4. Got to get at least upper half there. So that's one area to progress in. But yeah, we'll have a much more deeper Nebraska talk in a few weeks once I get through there. Hope to come back and talk Big Ten with you guys.
I cannot wait for your game grader breakdowns. I cannot wait. You are one of the only people who does the developmental breakdowns, where you take the recruiting classes and compare it to what the NFL draft picks has been. It's one of my favorite tools that you've created and that you delve into. I cannot wait for that. Cannot wait to read the article. We're going to have you on when you release the magazine in early July, and then hopefully we're going to have you on a ton during the college football season. So, Brett, I appreciate you as always breaking down what you have so far. 45 teams, 93 to go? That sounds about right?
Yeah, pretty much. Power 4 first, and then we'll do some non-AQ over the summer. But yeah, we got the magazine coming July. We got the Pick 6 Plus in the fall, week-to-week stats breakdown. And yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's coming quick.
It is.
100 days till kickoff.
It is indeed. Brett Cianci at Pick 6 Previews. We will talk to you soon, my friend.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Brett, stud. Absolute stud. Encourage anybody who is a college football psycho to go ahead, or college football sicko to go ahead and purchase that thing, because I'll tell you right now, it is it's awesome. It's just awesome. It's just so much detail, and very, very fortunate to have created a relationship with Brett over the last couple of years. Shout out Caleb Henry. He was the guy who got me on Pick 6 Previews.
Oh, yeah.
And it was funny when I first got to 1620 The Zone, and I was going through the guest list for the morning show. Brett Cianci popped up, and I was like, "You're kidding me? We had this guy on. I love this guy." So it's been very fortunate to be able to get to know him, and going to have him on the show plenty during college football season. So very interested to see when we have him on later into the year. What does he think about Nebraska? Very interesting takeaway from him, noticing that the attendance for the spring game definitely wasn't up to what we're used to. And I think it's what I kind of laid out is true. I don't think like Memorial Stadium is going to have any less people at regular season games this year. I still think that, when the rubber hits the road, that Nebraska football fans are going to show up and support this team. But I think it's now been 10 years of getting really, really excited for football season and expecting, butterflies and rainbows and 8, 9, 10 wins, and thinking that this is the year where you're going to break out and we're all going to say Nebraska's back. And year after year, it has not happened. It has not occurred. And so I think that's totally well within Nebraska fans' rights to just take more of a mannered approach heading into this season, saying, okay, hey, I'm still going to be there. I'm still going to be in South Stadium. I'm still going to use my season tickets. But at the same time, I need to see results before I get excited about what they can be, because you've been disappointed year after year. And I don't blame anybody for feeling that way, and fans kind of acting the way that they've acted. Maybe there are, I do think we still need to balance. Has Nebraska accomplished what you thought they've would accomplish under Matt Rule? No, they have not. Okay. They have not accomplished what you thought they would have accomplished. They are not where you thought they would be heading into year 4 when Matt Rule was first hired here in 2023. At the same time, you have to acknowledge they're in a much better spot now than where they were when he first got here. Both things can be true. Both things can be absolutely true. Matt Rule can have Nebraska going in the right direction and better than what it's been in the last decade. But it also can be true that, you would think the player development cycle at this point would be a little bit better. You would think that the transfer portal acquisitions, you would think that they would have somebody drafted from the guys that they've acquired from the portal. You would think that they would have a better November record and they would close out seasons better than in the past. They haven't, right? So I think both things can be true. Matt Rule can have this team going in the right direction, and he can be underperforming as a head coach. I don't think either is a lie, frankly. So be interesting to see, though, what Brett has Nebraska's record prediction to be. I'm very excited to read that. But we gotta have a couple of more of the primer magazines before you get to the big magazine.
Yeah, let the losers who get it wrong come out first.
I'm excited for Athlon. I'm excited for Lindy's. I'm gonna pick up Phil Steele's book.
I'm Phil Steele. Here's a book. That's my Phil Steele impression.
That's a pretty good old man
What do you
impression.
think?
I didn't know you had that in your back pocket.
Yeah. I don't like to break it out too often.
You don't like to break out any impressions.
I don't like
know
to
you
show
got. I
off.
know you got a Bill Cosby. I know you have a Bill Cosby. I know you have one, and you just refuse to do it. Think about the show, Josh. Think about how funny that would be, and how many people would like us more if you did a Bill Cosby impression.
Would that really swing the masses in our favor?
This would be a really bad time to mention what we're doing at 12:45, so I won't. Coming up next, let's talk about LSU, because, why the hell not? It's not like we've been doing it all damn week long.
Go Tigers.
Yeah.
That's my Edo.
Go Tigers. Go Tigers. Thank you. Joe's got to throw the ball better. I got a crawfish guy. Ray Baker. Go Tigers.
When are you due, ma'am? That's my Edo.
Coming up next with this, Matt.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Currently have a Big Ten Plus here on the studio TV. Currently, St. John's.
No, this is ESPN Plus.
What did I say?
Big Ten Plus.
My bad.
Nobody has Big Ten Plus.
I canceled my subscription.
Good.
Thank God. It's like $13 a month.
Nebraska fans, stop letting this conference hold you hostage.
Jack Mitchell's the problem.
And buying. Well, I need Big Ten Plus to watch it. No. If you don't buy it.
Yeah, but people want to watch wrestling. And they want to watch, some of the maybe not as great opponents that Nebraska volleyball plays that gets broadcasted on Big Ten Plus.
Because they know you're going to watch.
They do. But I feel like who else is keeping that streaming service afloat? Like, who else really likes all of those sports so much that they have so many different no Northwestern fan has Big Ten Plus. Think Maryland or Rutgers fans are buying Big Ten Plus?
I would genuinely love to have some data on who has that.
Ooh, who would be the top Big Ten Plus subscribers?
It's probably like an Ohio State or.
I think Nebraska would be number one.
That would be my guess.
I think Nebraska would be number one without a doubt. Then I would probably guess
maybe one of the LA schools.
But what? Okay, so that is why I went there, because if you're a big UCLA fan, there's a lot of different sports that UCLA fans like. Not only just baseball, but softball and gymnastics, because they're a great gymnastics school. That if you're going to watch those sports, more than likely you're going to have to watch a lot of them play on Big Ten Plus. So I would probably maybe guess UCLA has a sneaky amount of subscribers on Big Ten Plus. Here's another one: Penn State. I bet Penn State has a couple because of wrestling.
Sure.
Volleyball as well.
Yeah,
volleyball, very, very good. So volleyball and wrestling. I would guess that Nebraska and Penn State would be up there for sure. I don't know if Michigan would be, because how many other sports outside of football and basketball, which are already on national TV most of the time, what other sports are they great at that a ton of people would be tuning into? Not volleyball.
I don't know.
I mean, are they that good at? I mean, they're not one of the top 4 teams. I mean, they're the 7 seed in the Big Ten tournament for baseball. I mean, they're good at baseball. They're not great at baseball. I mean, they're good. They're really good. Don't get me wrong. Overall. I don't know. I think Penn State and Nebraska will probably dominate. You got to start. Big Ten Plus is only if you have great teams that would play on there. And Nebraska, frankly, has a lot of great teams that would play on there. Wrestling plays on there. Volleyball plays on there. Even women's basketball. Women's basketball is good at Nebraska. They play a ton of Big Ten Plus games. That's how I announced on Big Ten Plus.
I like that they let that happen.
That, they used to let students do it for the men's basketball games right before I got to Nebraska. They took that away, which was very disappointing. And then, I'm all for it if the broadcast is of the highest quality, if you're not, putting students on the men's, and by the way, they would be like the non-con men's basketball games against like Lindenwood or like, against the directional schools. Some of those broadcasts were really, really good that they didn't let students on. Some of them, left a little bit to be desired, but it is what it is. Oh, breaking news.
Breaking news, Matt. The bracket for this year's Players Era Festival.
Oh, wow.
Has been revealed.
All right.
We go to the Creighton-centric side of things.
Now, what week is Creighton playing in because there's 2 different weeks now of the Players Era Festival.
This
correct?
Is November 24th. This is the what do they call it? The Players Era 16. There's also a Players Era 8 or something
there
like
is.
that.
Okay, who's Creighton playing?
November 24th. That is the Tuesday ahead of Thanksgiving. Michigan will be taking on the Creighton Blue Jays.
Wow.
Yes. And then
that's incredible.
Gosh, just make it a bracket. Why all these words? And then they will play Miami or TCU if they win.
Okay.
Or if they lose, though that's who they're meeting in the second round, Miami or TCU.
Miami had a good year last season. TCU was a weird team in the Big 12. They had some really good results. I believe they beat Florida and then like gave Michigan their closest game of the season at one point, but then didn't have the best success in Big 12 play. Miami, obviously, very good from last year. Very interesting. The defending national champion, Michigan State Wolverines.
Yes.
A kind of a new. I mean, still you have Cadeau on that team, and you still have some of the faces that you're very familiar with, but also Ade Mara, Marez Johnson, and Yaxel Lendenborg, their three best players, all probably going to go in the first round of the NBA draft. At least that's the last mock draft that I saw. I'm not going to be on that team. Very interesting. Dusty May versus Alan Huss in Vegas, baby. All right. Talk about stacking up your non-con and having a really good opportunity to make your hay in November. The Big East sickos are going to be really locked into Creighton versus Michigan. It'd be a big win, not only for Creighton, but also the conference in general. Big East can have a good year.
Yes. St. John's opens up with Oregon.
Oh, come on.
In this.
Come on.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. How about, are there any other notable matchups?
Iowa State, San Diego State, sneaky good, I think. Louisville, Texas Tech.
That'll be okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Baylor, Bama.
Grant McCasland versus Pat Kelsey. Who's playing Bama?
Baylor.
Baylor, Bama. Okay. Drew versus Oates. All right. That's interesting.
Other matchups.
Oh, wow. That is Najee versus Bediako. The two coaches who are willing to bend the rules, taking on each other. That's a very sneaky matchup between Vegas. I see the embedded storylines there. Any other good ones?
I'll just run them down here real quick.
Ahead.
Where'd they go? Tennessee, Maryland. Let's see. Gonzaga, K-State.
Okay.
And I've listed all the other ones already.
Okay.
The Players Era 8.
Oh, let's do that.
It'll be Houston versus Rutgers, Florida versus Notre Dame,
Yeah.
Auburn versus West Virginia, and Kansas versus UNLV.
Yeah, none of those really
Yeah.
strike me. I did see it was from Robin Washit. He retweeted that there's apparently some movement to have like another. So yeah, this was from Matt Norlander. Breaking: a huge new event is in the works involving a majority of college basketball's blue blood. Sources tell CBS Sports. It's called the Diamond Cup. The debut was planned for 2027. It's a major unprecedented scheduling idea. Can it all come together? And some of the blue bloods include in this Diamond Cup Arizona, Kentucky, North Carolina, Kansas, Michigan, Indiana, UConn, and Gonzaga.
Whoa.
Don't get me wrong. The Diamond Cup would be absolutely insane. And I think a lot of college basketball fans would love to see that happen. At the same time, I think you need to recognize that if you're going to have these blue bloods all play each other, they're probably not going to play too many other power conference teams in their non-con, which kind of leaves out some non-blue bloods looking for who else are we going to play to boost our, non-conference schedule. So kind of a, I don't know. It's a little bit like a Super League Cup, which I think would be great for fans and a lot of people would be excited. But I think some athletic directors who would be on the outside looking in wouldn't necessarily enjoy if they did something like that. But hey, good for Creighton, man. Playing Michigan, going to be one hell of an opportunity for the new look Creighton Blue Jays under Alan Huss in the Players Era. So it's now the Players Era Festival. Was it always? I thought it was the Players Era Classic last year.
I don't remember.
So now it's a festival, returning classics. And what's the difference between a classic and a festival?
Great question.
Can we get a breakdown of what's a cup versus a festival versus a classic versus an invitational?
I think it's just the Players Era now.
We had this great conversation of like you just need to put like a noun in front of view, and that's like the sound of a town, right? Hey, welcome to Hawksview, right? Like that's one hell of a town. Hawksview probably exists in Wisconsin. It's probably a great place to raise a family. At this point, you just have to put some sort of basketball term and then just put the cup or invitational at the end of it, and then you've created a brand new tournament. Speaking of tournaments, by the way, the Big East tournament going on right now at Prasco Park, our very own Connor Happer on the call on 1180 Yacht Rock 1180. Currently, right now, we are in the top of the sixth inning. St. John's leading Creighton 3-1. They had the bases loaded. St. John's did in the last inning, and they played it 1 run to take a 2-run lead. Strikeout just happened here in the top of the sixth, so we will go to the bottom of the sixth in Prasco Park. Also, Nebraska will be in action tomorrow
in the Big Ten baseball tournament. They will play the winner of Ohio State versus Michigan. The game
on the Diamond?
On the Diamond in May on the Big Ten Network, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, so 6 p.m. Central. First pitch between Michigan and Ohio State. The winner of that game will play Nebraska tomorrow at 6 o'clock at the Chuck Box, which should be a very, very exciting and packed night in Omaha. Coming up next, we do one of our favorite segments of the week, This Week in Women's History, coming up on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Pretty big development here in college basketball. We heard about Josh very brilliantly pressing the breaking news button as Creighton.
Brilliant.
I mean, it was great. I mean, look, I get annoyed sometimes when we press, and you haven't done this. I'm just saying in general, it's a broadcasting ick of mine where we press breaking news buttons. We all get excited and then it's not actually breaking news. That was Creighton's going to end up playing Michigan this year. It's one hell of an ad on their schedule. And then they'll end up playing either Miami or TCU, which either of those games will be pretty vital in terms of the non-con, and definitely could end up being a quad 1 or a quad 2 win, depending on how those teams play. I think Miami, if they can repeat what they did last year, I mean, they were undoubtedly one of the best teams in the ACC. If to play Miami, to play Michigan, those would be two big adds to Creighton's schedule. And so it'll be a very big November test to see what that team looks like before they head into conference play. Another big news, though, out of college basketball, Ruben Chinyulu returning for Florida, for the Gators. Massive, massive news for Florida. Chinyulu was in the NBA draft. He's withdrawn. I think it easily makes Florida the team to beat now in the NCAA when it comes into heading into next season. Have a ton of guys returning to that roster. Todd Golden, who is becoming you got to make Golden say no from an NBA coaching perspective. He's got one hell of a roster returning, and hopefully for the Gators trying to capture their second national championship in 2 seasons. Already, it's a Thursday at 12:45, which means we go back in time and we give kudos, honor, and praise to the women through the 70s, 80s, and 90s who have shaped our society that I may not know about. And Josh Odson is here to educate me, along with you and all of your suggestions, who Josh should pick in this week in women's history. Josh, who is our first lady through the decade.
It's an important job. I don't take it lightly.
No, you do not.
Let's start with, let's go Heather Thomas.
Heather Thomas.
Heather Thomas.
This sounds like a
week.
90s name. A 90s woman.
I'm trying to remember.
1978 is when she began. I'm guessing she made her big appearance in the 80s. She's in, I don't know any of these. What was her big one?
Her big one was, great question. Was it the TV show The Fall Guy?
I think I'm getting to know why Heather Thomas was very popular in the 80s.
You figuring it out? Yeah, she was on 112 episodes of The Fall Guy, which became a movie with Ryan Gosling, but she wasn't. I mean, she was in that as like a cameo. But
what a gorgeous human being. Let's
not what this is about.
No, it's not. I just have to mention that.
Yeah,
I'm not saying anything else.
The people know.
Yeah, God. The Fall Guy with head. Whoa, she's got a headband on in this one. Okay, yeah, Heather. Who did she? Alan Rosenthal. Who's that?
Another television actor of yesteryear.
How about Skip Brittenham?
I don't know Skip.
Okay, Skip. Okay, so she was in The Fall Guy?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. In 2024. Okay. Girl Trash All Night Long. Have you ever seen that?
I have not.
Okay. You want to look into Girl Trash? What was that about?
I don't know if I want to do that on the work computer.
Okay, that's a good point. Shoot. Get out of that one. I don't know. I don't know what it's about.
You don't know what Girl Trash is about?
I think we should just no. It says it's about the Battle of the Bands contest to claim a prize.
I'll bet it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Name number 2.
Sorry.
It's okay. Leah Thompson.
Oh, Leah Thompson. I should know. I've heard of Leah Thompson.
You probably should. You might recognize.
Or maybe I've just met a woman named Leah Thompson. Is also something that also could happen.
Well, that would be fun for you.
From Rochester, Minnesota. Okay. She was a ballet. She was a ballet dancer.
No H on Leah. LEA is
no. I know, but she went to the American Ballet for school.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She married Howard Deutsch.
The money guy?
This is what this is.
Right.
Was she in she was in Back to the Future?
Yes, there you go.
Oh, wait, was she the one who got
She was done after Back to the Future 1. Bless you.
Thank you. No, she was Marty's mom.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
She was. Oh, I didn't know that.
And prom date, as J-Man
That's her.
accurately
That's
points
Leah
out. Wow.
Thompson?
Yeah. Okay. She did go to the American Ballet Theater.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
I'm seeing it now. The picture on her Wikipedia is a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, she's awesome. She's probably the best actor in Back to the Future.
Oh, okay.
Who's the best actor in Back to the Future?
I probably would have said
Doc?
Michael J. Fox.
I don't know. I'm not a big Marty McFly guy.
Okay.
I kind of get
a little too close to home.
I mean, look, I'm just saying, like, I can understand why people want to hit that guy, you know? What do you mean it hits too close to home? You calling me a dork like McFly?
Oh, he was cool.
No, he wasn't. Marty McFly might have been cool in the 80s. He's not cool to me. I don't think a guy with a sweater vest who plays guitar is a cool guy.
This is an interesting development.
You think
do the youth of America not think Marty McFly is cool?
I do not think Marty McFly is cool. I did not watch Back to the Future and think Marty McFly was a cool guy.
Huh.
I thought he was a bit of a dork and a slacker. I kind of agreed with Marty McFly's teachers. I thought McFly was lazy. But if I'm being honest with you, I mean, the guy, I think that Marty could have applied himself better. Hell, we find out in Back to the Future too, he didn't apply himself enough. That's why he's got to go back to the future and change his future.
I mean, yeah.
Am I wrong?
I
Am I wrong on the scouting report of Marty McFly?
Play the song. Matt was right.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, you find out later. Didn't really accomplish what he should have accomplished.
Hadn't thought of it quite like that before.
And then he took credit for Johnny Be Good. You think that guy's cool? I mean, he stole Johnny Be Good.
He did.
He stole Johnny Be Good.
He did.
He rewrote history.
But white people have been stealing black people's music for years.
Stibbs goes, I love sweater vest, can play guitar. I feel attacked. That's not a cool thing to do. I'm sorry.
Weezer would like a word.
Ferris over Marty, every character in the Breakfast Club. I'll tell you that Ferris Bueller, that guy's cool.
Okay, Chicago.
What? Who's cooler, Marty McFly or Ferris Bueller? That is an easy ass question.
You're right.
That's an easy ass question.
You're biased, though. Both things can be true.
All right. We're going to hit a break and we're going to continue this. All right. We're going to do 2 more women at the 1 o'clock hour, and then we'll go ahead and we'll do some LSU stuff before we get to Lauren Michelson at 1:20 here at Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, I'm going to start this segment, Matt.
Oh, whoa!
Last segment has garnered a lot of conversation. You didn't like that Marty McFly. You called him a dork.
He is a dork.
You're making me see maybe the light on this, but you said he was a dork because he played a sweater vest and played guitar.
Yeah.
Ferris Bueller wore a sweater vest.
Yeah.
And played the guitar in the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Can I tell you right now? Do you know who does it better? Matthew Broderick. All right, that's who does it better. He's cooler. He's cooler.
He killed a guy.
Also, okay. Well, we're not talking about we're talking about Ferris Bueller and
Marty McFly. Not Matthew Broderick and Michael J. Fox.
And what he might have done in that, that day. Mm-hmm. Which I am, by the way, I am fully aware of that story. If you were wondering. I did know.
You proved pretty quick that you were.
No, I know, which is why I tried to keep the actors' names out of things as long as possible. I'm just telling you.
You love the horses, so this is.
I'm telling you, right? Ferris Bueller is cooler than Ferris Bueller is cooler than Marty McFly. Secondly, Marty McFly's best friend is a disgraced nuclear scientist. Do we ever find out why? Okay, do we ever find out why? Marty McFly's best friend is Doc. If the guy was so cool, if he was so awesome, if he was so groundbreaking, wouldn't he have more friends? Wouldn't he not be bullied? All right. Wouldn't he be, the top dog, the head honcho? Wouldn't he'd be easily be able to get into his school's talent show? That's the whole plot of the film was he couldn't get into a school's talent show. Really? And he's cool. When was the last time somebody got into a talent show and you thought, wow, that guy's cool?
I mean, never. Literally
Thank
never.
He's a cool guy?
Why was a random elderly doctor friends with a high school child?
It never makes any sense. And his parents are okay with it. And by the way, you think Marty McFly's a loser? His dad was a bigger loser.
No, that's true. His dad was a loser. We have a text from our ghost dog.
Oh, no.
Ferris Bueller, easily one of the most overrated movies of all time. People only talk about 2 scenes in that movie. Watch it again. It sucks. It's Winnie the Pooh with real life white people. Ghost Dog can say these things.
Yes, Ghost Dog can't say these things.
Cameron is Eeyore, Winnie is Ferris, and Sloan is Piglet. Play it over in your head. You'll see it. Cameron is a buzzkill.
I will admit Cameron is a buzzkill. I couldn't agree more with our Ghost Dog.
The guy was a sad sack, man.
He is. And his dad was a hard ass. Too. Yeah. Like, that was kind of ridiculous. And he was wearing a Detroit Red Wings jersey the entire time. Get a grip, buddy. All right.
This is the movie you're defending, though. Remember?
No, I'm defending Ferris Bueller.
Oh, okay.
All right, we got a lot of from the 402. I don't need a guy with a lisp who's telling me who's cool and who's a dork. All right. First off, my speech impediments don't make me cool or not. All right.
He put the laughing face emoji.
He did. He said it very nicely.
Rattlesnake Ron. Guy that travels through time, defeating every obstacle put in front of him isn't cool. Okay, Matt, maybe take a lap and think this one out.
He goes, oh, yeah, what's cooler, having friends your own age or discovering time travel with a nuclear scientist? I'm sorry. I never watched that movie and I thought, oh, my God, man, I really want to be Marty McFly. Also, too, he keeps making his own problems throughout the entirety of the movie. Like, he keeps having to go back in time to fix things that he messed up.
Because he wouldn't listen.
Because he's an idiot. Because he's a dork. You understand, Back to the Future 2 was just all his fault. He doesn't have to do the sports almanac. He doesn't have to grab it. He doesn't have to go back and try and make money off of it. If he was
things he put his poor mother through.
Literally. Just so what? He can make a couple of bets. He should get a ghost dog. That's how Back to the Future could have been solved. If Marty McFly had a ghost dog, we wouldn't have had to get into this mess.
Interesting.
John goes, I think Matt doesn't like Marty McFly because Marty McFly reminds him of himself in high school. No.
That's what I initially thought as well.
You think I was a dork in high school? Is that what you're saying?
Based on what you've told me, yes.
I mean, I wasn't, BMOC.
Yeah, I don't think you were big man on campus. I don't think you
I wasn't
were getting stuffed
I
in the
wasn't getting
lockers.
shoved in lockers.
I do think you were in the bottom of the middle class, though.
I was in the bottom of the middle class for 3 years in high school. And then I was upper middle class by senior year.
You took the leap, the jump?
I definitely did take a jump in the upper middle class.
There's a lot of people hoping for jumps in year 4.
I will say that scoring 3 playoff games in the span of 2 weeks in hockey definitely helped my rapport.
Helped your status, yeah.
Time. And then I got a girlfriend, and that helped it even more. So I was moving up the chain, and then COVID happened, and that kind of stunted my growth.
Yeah,
it was really moving up. Do we have one more women through the decade before we get to LSU football? We only did 2. I feel like we shortchanged the people.
I feel like in honor of Ed Ogeron, I should name a woman who's with child right now, but I can't think of one. So we'll go Claire Danes.
Great name.
Yeah.
Claire
she looks
Danes.
like a Claire Danes.
Yeah. Yes, she does.
Mm-hmm.
$1,000,000%. What did she do?
In the 90s, she was on a television show called My So-Called Life.
Okay.
Did quite well with that. She was in Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Wow. Talk about a woman who's aged gracefully.
Yes,
too.
very much so.
Wow.
She was on the
Very
TV series
impressive.
Homeland.
What is her skincare routine?
I'll
My
bet it's
God.
extensive.
I bet she does a lot of, facial masks probably.
Yeah.
Wow. She was Cosette in Les Mis.
Sure, yeah. That
Cosette, where all the
second straight day the show has brought up Les Mis.
play.
I'm concerned.
Why are you concerned? I like Les Mis.
It has to be the only time it's happened in human history.
That a sports talk show has a host that is pretty fluent in Les Mis.
Referenced Les Mis
My mother wanted
2 times in consecutive
My
days.
mother wanted to be on Broadway. She had me play the hits.
Oh no, it's a great show. I'm not arguing
Incredible.
the
While Skibbs goes, Ferris Bueller's Day Off is incredible. What a horrible take. It's a pretty great movie. But I do agree that Cameron is pretty awful. She hosted SNL. Very good. Okay, Claire Danes.
I'm sure.
So My So-Called Life. She was only on it for 2 years, though. It didn't.
It was a short. It didn't run that long, but it is beloved.
Okay.
Amongst Gen Xers.
Here's the thing that I judge off of which some of these women through the decades. Which ones are still performing now? Which ones are still prominent now and today? Who are still getting pretty consistent jobs through Hollywood? And Claire Danes is one of them, where she's still she has 2 movies coming out.
She's gonna play Hillary Clinton in something called Rodham.
She's gonna play Hillary Clinton?
Yeah.
What a big role for her.
Yeah.
My
But
God.
it says 1 episode.
Oh.
So it's
just like a cameo, like you just see her bob,
I don't know.
You just see her haircut.
Must be through the years, and she plays one of the
What's
eras.
it called? What's it called?
Rodham. That was Hillary's
Rodham?
maiden name.
Oh. Yeah, maybe it's like Air, but you never see Michael Jordan, This is
Right,
like a Hillary
right,
Clinton
maybe.
thing, but you only see the back of her head, and that's Claire Danes. Good for Claire Danes. She's really she did a lot of movies though.
Yes,
as well.
she quickly got off of My So-Called
Terminator
Life.
3.
Yes.
Was she pretty good in that?
Was anyone?
I've never seen Terminator 3. I haven't even seen Terminator 1, 2, or whatever.
Okay. Not particularly, no.
I'm going to be honest with you. Not a Terminator guy. I'm really not an Arnold guy in general.
She was good movies with her are Romeo and Juliet.
I knew Arnold was the governor of California before I knew he was Terminator.
The actor?
Yeah, that's what I was like. My dad goes, watch this movie. I go, the governor?
Mm-hmm. What
JT Smith goes, Matt, not a dork, but references Les Mis 2 minutes later.
Mm-hmm.
What? I'm a aristocrat, all right? I'm a contrarian.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of different arts and sciences.
You have a wide range of interests.
Wide range indeed.
Mm-hmm. One of them, college football.
Run 65 Bears goes, Biff was the best actor.
TC.
Couldn't disagree more. Yes, one of them college football. Thank you for segueing here. Real quick. Ed O, hired to LSU. Going to be a special assistant to recruiting, plus going to help on the defensive side of the ball. I think that people, and I just want to get this take out there. I think that people look at this and they go, oh, ha, ha. Kim Mulkey, Will Wade, Lane Kiffin, Ed Ogeron. Oh, my God. Well, if what a nightmare, or what stories could be told. My goodness, all these very eccentric and interesting personalities. And I think that, we'll get the funny videos of Ed Ogeron, right? We'll get the funny pictures of Ed Ogeron. There will be some funny quotes, and we're all ha and laugh and everything like that. But I don't think it can be understated. This man is a super recruiter. Like, this man knows how to get talent, regardless of where he's been at, whether he's been at USC with Pete Carroll, whether it was being the head coach of the LSU Tigers, the 2019 LSU Tigers, which, if we're going off of modern era teams, is one of the best teams we've seen ever. I mean, I think in a lot of different people's list of just all-time college football teams, LSU 2019 comes up in a lot of top 10s. And look, they had 15 draft picks in 2020. They had 7 draft picks in 2021. They had 6 first-round draft picks the year after they won the national championship. And the year after that, Jamar Chase got selected by the Cincinnati Bengals. And it's funny, like, we go through all of the players that was on that team, right? We go through the Joe Burrows and the Justin Jeffersons and the Clyde Edwards-Helaire's and Damian Lewis and, Kayvon Chason was on that team. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson on that team. Patrick Queen on that team. Like, a lot of really, really good players that weren't only just good, in college, but ended up having very successful NFL careers. And then we kind of go like, oh yeah, Joe Brady was the offensive coordinator. And like, we give a ton of credit to Joe Brady and what he did with that offense and how dominant that offense was. And we just kind of go, yeah, Ed O was there. Right? When we talk about that team, we don't really talk about like Ed Ogeron being this like incredible, historic coach by any, stretch of the imagination. He's just kind of, I don't want to call him the funny guy, but like, the figure that was in front of the great team and the awesome staff behind him. But I think it just cannot be understated that all of this talent came through LSU under the guide of Ed Ogeron. And this guy, was able to find these guys, evaluate these guys, and bring these guys in and create one of the best teams we've seen in college football. And I think that, my point being is we go, oh, haha, funny, Edo back, in college sports, and he's back at LSU. And look at LSU, they're doing that thing again where they fire somebody and they bring them back. They love doing that, right? But at the same time, this guy's just a hell of a recruiter. He's an ace recruiter. He knows how to, make guys feel comfortable. He knows how to build relationships, not only just with players, but, he's a phenomenal storyteller. And, he, through his podcast interviews, tells so many stories about not only just being able to connect with athletes, but connect with their parents as well. And it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, on the surface, we go, wow, like LSU, bringing back their former head coach they fired and paid millions of dollars to walk out the door. But I think when you really delve into it, like, Lane Kiffin already knows how to recruit him. Lane Kiffin already knows how to bring in the talent. Lane Kiffin already's got a big old bag of money. Mm-hmm. You had a guy like Ed O, who's a ace recruiter, man. Like, that's a pretty tough combination.
If Lane runs into a recruit now that their family or the recruit says, I don't know if you're my kind of guy, Lane. I love LSU, always wanted to play here, but I don't know if you're kind of an outsider. Enter Ed Ogeron.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And like, it caught me thinking, like, all right, Lane Kiffin already pretty good at getting these guys into Baton Rouge and even getting them into Oxford, Mississippi, right? You bring in a guy like that, bring in an ace recruiter. I started thinking, who's Nebraska's ace recruiter? Like, does Nebraska have even a guy even close to that level in terms of he walks into the room and you have a shot right away if he's with him?
I genuinely don't know.
Look, first off, I think Nebraska's good at recruiting. I think Nebraska's a good recruiting school. And look, the 2026 class, a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, that was more of a numbers thing. I think what they've done in 2027 has proven that they can convince some guys. And I think the fact that they've done the job that they've done without necessarily the gaudy record, right, that a lot of teams do this with, I think that is kind of a little bit of a handicap to show you, hey, they're a little bit better than maybe you think. But Jeep Wade has come onto this campus and has made an impact, not only just from a coaching perspective, because that was a big scoreline coming out of the spring. Like, hey, Jeep is coaching these guys. Jeep is working these guys. These guys look a lot better because, Jeep, and he's got the pedigree, and, Keelan Rutledge drafted from Georgia Tech in the draft. Like, this is a coach who, coached Joe Moore award-winning offensive line, caliber offensive lines. Like, Jeep is a hell of a coach already. But what he did with Jordan Agbanama to get the 4-star number 6 interior offensive lineman to skip out on 4 visits and just straight up commit to Nebraska.
Sure.
And something that's resonated with me from our interview with Tim on Tuesday, Tim Verghese of Inside Nebraska and Rivals, is that, 2027 is a really big deal for Nebraska in terms of the recruiting class, but those recruits are looking to see what the results are going to be in 2026, And so Nebraska needs to have a good 2026 and show progress, not only to just hold some of their 2027 recruiting class. And this is what Tim was saying, not only just hold some of their 2027 recruiting class, but also close the door on some of the guys that are interested in them.
And real quick, 37 minutes ago, Tim Verghese tweeted another one.
Oh, so there you go. I mean,
something's coming.
Something's coming.
Yeah.
Look, this guy, Jeep Wade goes, screw that. Screw having to be good for 2026. Screw having to prove results to people in order. Now, I'm just going to close this guy. And I would love to ask him if he thought that Jeep would come in and be this good at recruiting right away, and Jeep would make this impact right away. And we can't forget about Lonnie Teasley, the other offensive line coach with Jeep Wade. But the other guy that I think of when we talk about this Nebraska have a recruiting ace, it's got to be EJ Barthel and the work that he's done in Chicago to get Claude and Puma onto campus, go ahead and plant the seeds that could generate a lot of really good players coming through Nebraska in an area of the country. And specifically, right, EJ has been able to identify not just Chicago is a really good area to get recruits, but also the surrounding Chicago areas, and go to places like Mount Carmel, go to places like Carmel, try and dip his toe a little bit in Homewood Flossmoor. Now they have this guy, Henry Sakalas, who is a hybrid linebacker type who's coming through on a visit from Nazareth Academy. Naz Academy is where J.J. McCarthy played, right? A lot of really good players have come through Nazareth. And so EJ is kind of trending in that direction as well. I don't know if Nebraska necessarily right now has that for-sure ace that you go, hey, he's the one who's bringing them all in. They got a couple of guys who know what they're doing. They know their way around recruiting. And Matt Rule knows his way around recruiting as well. And so it's very what Jeep did yesterday to get Agbanama, just right 4-star recruit, massive offensive line commit, and then to what EJ Barthel's done in Chicago, planting Nebraska there, a place that they necessarily haven't hit too much in the past, especially during the Frost era. Maybe not as much, as you would hope. Big stuff, trending in the right direction in recruiting. We've seen that recruiting number kind of come back a little bit more as the process has gone on. It's really big for Nebraska to get another win. And Tim Verghese said another one, maybe another win is coming for Nebraska football. A win is coming for Middays with Matt, because we're going to have on one of our favorite guests, Lauren Michelson, going to join us next here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We want to remind you, go to 1620thezone.com. There is a lot of different concerts and comedy shows that you can enter into, potentially go to and win your way there. That includes the Black Keys, the Yachtly Crew, the Young Giant, Chris Stapleton, who will be in Lincoln October 7th, and Bert Kreischer, who is back in the Metro this fall on the Permission to Party World Tour, which will be on December 6th at the Mid-America Center. We also want to remind you about the Summer Sizzle giveaway. Your two favorite things in the world, Arby's and 1620 The Zone, are joining together, turning up the flavor, and the Summer Sizzle giveaway. You can enter to win to score a combo meal every week all summer long. That's 13 weeks of hot, delicious wins. No cooking, no stressing, just sizzling bites on us and Arby's. Enter now at 1620thezone.com for your tasty summer yet. Sponsored by Arby's. We bring in someone, I don't know if they like Arby's or not, if they go to Arby's often, but it's Lauren Michelson. Lauren, do you have a favorite Arby's combo?
I was going to say, you're making me hungry now. I have not been to Arby's in a while, but
Okay.
I think I may just have to make a little pit stop here soon. That made me hungry.
If you're ever, I mean, look, you did not go to the UNL College of Journalism. You were one of the more rare ones who went out of state. You went to Missouri, a phenomenal journalism school. But if you did go to UNL, you would know that there's an Arby's basically on the College of Journalism's campus. So you can always go over there, stop over and get
So
a
are
nice
you
little
telling
Arby's
me you spent a lot of time at Arby's in
Yes,
college?
I spent so much time at Arby's in college. They actually had every Tuesday, they had like a $5 deal where you could get like hot cakes and a classic sandwich. It was pretty cool.
Oh, come on now. It doesn't get better.
It was great. And then they had free drinks at the College of Journalism. So you go and you get that combo, and then you just go over and get a couple free drinks, and then you're like eating. You know us, like in college, you had to be super cheap and find your way to get very cheap meals. So that was it. Let's not talk about cheap meals. Let's talk about great content. You guys are shooting great content over there, KETV. Where have you been? Or maybe more accurately, where haven't you been? State soccer, state track, baseball, softball, all this different stuff going on. How's it been for you? The month of May, very busy over there on television.
A lot of people have been talking about it among the media, like this, you kind of forget just how busy May can be. And it has been an exciting time, but a busy time. Yeah, we have been covering all the state championships for soccer, track, baseball. And then I've been in Lincoln. Yesterday, I was in Lincoln all day talking with Nebraska softball ahead of tonight's big game. And then I'll be going back down to Lincoln here in a couple hours. So it's busy, but I mean, you can't ask for better stuff to be covering right now. It's a really exciting time around Omaha.
You know, it's one thing to cover, you know, some local flavor within the local teams, right? It's one thing to cover, hey, you have somebody who graduated from Millard South, or somebody who graduated from, you know, Elkhorn South, or somebody who went to high school in Lincoln or in Omaha. But how more interesting is it when you have somebody playing a local team who's an opponent against the local team, but also has some local flavor? And I'm really referring to Ruby Malin, who went to Scott, who's now pitching for Oklahoma State, had a great outing against Nebraska when they played earlier in the season. How big of a storyline is that for you and from the TV aspect?
Yeah, I mean, everyone, I think if you're tuned into college softball across the country right now, everyone has their eyes on Oklahoma State and Nebraska tonight in the Super Regional, because not only are these two of the hottest teams in the country right now, but it's two of the best pitching staffs in the country. And then, three of the pitchers that you will be seeing this weekend are all Nebraska products. So the storylines are just incredible. The buzz is palpable, and the talent is really there. I see this weekend as a celebration of not only the sport this weekend, but it's a celebration of the level of talent and skill to come out of the state. And it's really helped put the sport of softball on the map nationally, but also how many young girls you walk around last weekend, and I'm sure we'll see it this weekend, wearing Jordy, maybe formerly Ball shirts, but now Fromm, and people so excited to see Ruby pitch. And it's just really an exciting time. But yeah, it's the fact that it's Alexis Jensen, Ruby Malin, and then Jordy Fromm all here together this weekend is a unique atmosphere that is going to keep people very excited. We keep saying, grab your popcorn, lock in. It's going to be a dogfight. That's the words of Rhonda Revelle and Jordy yesterday. They know it's going to be a tough game, a tough atmosphere, despite the home crowd on their hands. But this is really going to be a weekend I think we remember for a long time.
Absolutely. And like you said, all the embedded local storylines just making that more entertaining. Talking about exciting stuff, tomorrow, Nebraska baseball going to be playing at Charles Schwab Field. Maybe after this weekend, it isn't the last time they play at Charles Schwab Field. But how excited are you going to be covering the game tomorrow for Nebraska versus either Michigan or Ohio State?
Yeah, and I hope it's Michigan. How about that?
Yeah, that'd be
I will be over there for a little bit. I'm anchoring in studios, so we're going to have kind of all hands on deck tomorrow night. And hopefully weather won't impact anything going on, because that is the worst this time of year. But no, I'm excited. It was so cool because last Tuesday it just felt you could kind of feel that postseason buzz at the Chuck when Nebraska and Creighton played. And you're like, wow, we're a week out from the Big Ten tournament. This was last week. And you kind of just, Nebraska obviously won, and they're putting off the fireworks afterwards, and you're kind of looking around, at least I was, and the team's celebrating. You're like, oh my God, what if this is a reality? Like, one, in the Big Ten tournament, another title.
Yeah.
But two, like, what if they carry this thing somehow all the way to the College World Series? I don't know what's going to happen, but I think they are rolling at the right time. They've won 7 straight since being swept by Ohio State. And, you know, in the words of Coach Will Bolt, our guys are constantly showing up and constantly responding, and that's what it takes to win this time of year. So it would be great to see them host a regional. That's the next step, but they got to take care of business this weekend.
Have you been at skate track or skate soccer more?
State soccer more.
Okay. Any favorite storylines from that?
Elkhorn South playing for one I believe it's a stepmother on the team of one of their stars who is battling breast cancer. It's so cool because all the, you know, I love when you're a female athlete and you're like embracing all the girliness of it still, like the sparkles in the hair and like getting dolled up to play. Like, that's fun. And so all the teams have all the sparkles in the hair and stuff, but they were a great team and playing for something bigger. That was cool to see. But gosh, the atmosphere at Morrison is so special. And really all the state sports across the metro. Like, I didn't have this growing up in Kansas City. I felt like state was a big deal, but the way in which the NSA does this, like, they really do a nice job. It feels more like a community event, even though it is a statewide event. But, you know, you usually just see like families of the athletes and friends, and then you hope for a good student section, but people come all in and they'll be driving by like, what's going on, and maybe just come in and watch some soccer, see some Creighton commits and whatnot. It's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with that more, because coming from Chicago, I feel like we didn't really care about that stuff. It's like, oh, you're gonna play a state title game at, you know, Champaign, and then, you know, you play the championship hockey game at the United Center. But other than that, it was not propped up the same way they do it here. Can you want to rank your favorite state championship venues? I mean, where would you put wrestling? Where do you put soccer? Where do you put baseball? What is your do you have a power ranking? A Lauren Michelson Nebraska High School Skate Championship power ranking on the spot?
I think I've never been a wrestler, but I think for those wrestlers in the state, there's nothing like the CHI Health Center, and that week is just really special and does a good job individually of putting those athletes on a nice pedestal. And the Parade of Champions is great. That would probably be number 1, but I think state soccer is close behind at 2. And I think state track's also so fun. I know there's some discussion about moving it, maybe going to Lincoln and doing it at Nebraska, whatever it may be. But I think Burke Stadium is the perfect place for it. And I don't love change, so I think why fix when it ain't broke?
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it almost is like, for as big a deal as football is around here, almost feels like, Memorial Stadium. Like, it's great, but it's not the best.
No, it's so interesting that, you know, probably, I mean, the biggest and arguably the most historic venue out of all of the places that they do these state championship events kind of gets put on the back burner, you know, and maybe that has a little bit to do with the quality of the games the last 2 years. I don't know, you know, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, you're totally right. It's almost like those more smaller, more condensed, you know, venues kind of prop up the importance of what they're playing for in a way, which is super interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, what's so ironic is like, the cool thing that Nebraska does is they give these high school athletes a chance to play in some incredible venues, like Morrison being a collegiate stadium as well. And then obviously football, but then you also have like, you kind of, and that's kind of what we're thinking about this weekend with softball. Like, the fact that like Alexis Jensen won a state title at Bolin Stadium, and then you have Jordy Fromm and Ruby, and it's really cool to like grow up kind of idolizing playing here and then playing there with your high school team, and then the storyline just continues. So it's a cool deal. I do think there's some nerves for Nebraska softball this weekend, and I would love to hear what fans and everyone thought, but like they're hot right now. But I do think the sweet spot comes in just the order. They need some girls to step up offensively, and I think that would be the key for this weekend. Even though all of our eyes, of course, are on the circle and the pitching talent on display this weekend.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point, because I mentioned kind of earlier in our preview of it, like, you know, 1 run in 21 innings between Alexis Jensen and Jordy Fromm rather. And still it kind of, you ignore the fact that it was only 7 runs scored in 3 games. You know, you're going to have to do a little bit better than that if you're going to make the run that you need to make here in the Women's College World Series. Okay, let's do this. Your prediction for Nebraska softball and your prediction for Nebraska baseball. Where do you think both these teams end up at the end of the weekend?
Yeah. So softball, I think it will go 3 this weekend.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I do, because they split. They met in the regular season. They were both 1-run games, and they split up. And then the rubber match was canceled due to weather, shockingly, right?
Yeah.
So
it never rains in March, by the way. I think we were all shocked to find that out.
I know I'm over the weather, but I do think it'll go 3, and I think it will be I don't think a lot of runs will be scored. I think it will be low scoring. I think the scores of the last time they met, I think it was 2-1 Oklahoma State and then 4-3 Nebraska. So I think it is going to be similar. Like these teams have changed a lot, but like their identities have not at all. So unless Nebraska, you know, Rhonda said she's not too worried about the lack of an offense or just the more quiet offense that they've produced lately. But, and she's right. I mean, when you get to this point in the postseason, like teams are throwing their best arms, and runs just come at a premium this time of year. So, you know, she feels like they did bend, but they didn't break last weekend, being tested a little bit, and that's going to help them. So that would be great. So yeah, I have Nebraska coming out of the Super is going to the Women's World Series. Right. I do think it'll be 3. And then for baseball, I think I don't know. I think either way, they're going to advance out of Friday, but I don't know if I see them going to the championship game. So we'll see. We'll see. I'd love if they could. But I think it just depends. I think they could be really juiced up to face Ohio State and have a heck of a game, but who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, if they were to beat either Michigan or Ohio State, they would play the winner of Oregon versus Washington. And we all know that Oregon series was an absolute slobber knocker. And then, you know, the other side might end up playing the winner of UCLA versus USC, which is so crazy to see Nebraska in the pod of the old Pac-12 teams in the Big Ten when it comes to baseball. I don't know if too many people, well, I mean, if we're being honest, maybe some people did see that coming, but that's exactly where you want to be in the Big Ten, right? If you're surrounded by as many West Coast schools as you can, you're probably doing a good job, and that's what Nebraska is doing. Lauren Michelson, you're doing a great job. Thank you so much for joining us here. Good luck to you this weekend. Bring a raincoat for tomorrow. I don't know if we'll see what happens. They can play in rain, but not in lightning, so it'll be interesting to see what happens at Charles Schwab Field tomorrow between Nebraska and the winner of Michigan versus Ohio State. We will talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Lauren Michelson of KETV. Coming up next, what to watch and the dog of the day here on Middays with Matt.
All right, currently watching the St. John's versus Creighton Big East baseball tournament game. This game was supposed to be played yesterday, but due to inclement weather, it got pushed back. So they're playing right now. Connor Happer on the call on Yacht Rock 1180. Currently, Creighton down 4-2 in the top of the ninth, 1 out, 1-1 count. As the tying run is at the plate right now. So 2 outs to work with for the Blue Jays. The St. John's starting pitcher, I don't know his name, but threw like 140 pitches before he eventually was released.
137 was the final count.
My
but
God.
man,
I mean, they really don't want to use their bullpen. He did play well as that's a high drive to left center field.
Warning track power.
Good tag, though. So the potential third run goes to third base. So 2 outs on the top of the ninth. We won't. I mean, we can disseminate, but we won't.
We won't.
That's Connor's job on Yacht Rock 1180. But 1 out left for the Creighton Blue Jays. If they lose this game, they play at 7:00 later today to try and fight for the right to play on Chick-fil-A night at Presco Park.
I don't know which day is Chick-fil-A
I'm
day.
a little worried if the Jays need to make it to Chick-fil-A night because we need our T-shirts. That must happen.
Mm-hmm.
So the tying run, though, still at home plate as Cooper Fucino, I believe is how you say his name, from Rolling Hills Estates, California, who hasn't had a home run this season and hasn't had too many at-bats, will pinch hit here at the top of the ninth, the first game of the Big East tournament. What are we watching tonight? Josh Hodson.
Well, we're watching the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 2, Cavs and Knicks at 7:00 on ESPN. Knicks lead that series 1-0. Eastern Conference Finals getting underway in the NHL. Game 1 between the Canadiens and the Hurricanes, 7:00 on TNT. Another edition of Blue Jays Yankees is on MLB Network tonight.
Well, Creighton's playing the Yankees after this game?
Yeah. It's the Yankees have been inducted into the Big East.
Nice. The Big East needs the Yankees.
Yeah.
It's a big get for the Big East. Really
it
good
was
get.
Val Ackerman's last act on her way out was to sign the Yankees.
We're
to
bringing
Big
in the
East.
Yankees.
Maybe
Aaron Judge, Big East Player of the Year in perpetuity.
Maybe Creighton will play an elimination game at 7:00 tonight.
Probably.
We'll see.
More than likely.
Softball Super Regionals, number 13 Oklahoma State at number 4 Nebraska, 8:00 on ESPN2. It is preceded by the Tallahassee Super Regional, Georgia and Tennessee. WNBA doubleheader on Prime, Golden State, New York at 7, followed by LA and Phoenix. All 3 seasons of the original Jackass series are back on Paramount Plus.
Okay.
For people my age. And finally at 10:35 on CBS tonight, it is the final episode of the Late Show franchise after 33 years, as CBS has promised Stephen Colbert that he can go as late as he wants tonight.
Whoa.
In his final episode, there will be no time restraints. I don't imagine he'll go very long over it, but he won't be rushed at the end, I guess.
And that's the game between St. John's and Creighton. The St. John's catcher shook the hand of the umpire right after
slip him a
strikeout.
20.
I'm going to be real. He probably said, "Thanks for that nice, comfy outside zone, my man. Appreciated that." We just hammered that all ninth inning. Kind of got twisted up there at the plate. Good win for St. John's. So Creighton will be playing at 7:00 later today. Shout out Jake Janicek. Gonna have to produce it again, bud.
All right, folks, let's talk right now. I'm going to kill your bookmaker. I'm going to rip his throat out. I will blow this man out. I will step on his throat until the man chokes. Let me tell you how. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. I'm on a roll.
Dude, you gotta love dogs, right?
All right. So yesterday was a Matt McMaster day, and it hit the Vegas Golden Knights plus 150. Actually, that line got down to 143 by the time puck drops came. I bet it, by the way. Put my own cold hard cash on it. I was a wuss, though. I shouldn't admit it, but I will. I did cash out.
Whoa, Matt.
It was 25 to win, 25 to pay 58. It was 3-0. Colorado scored. They had all the momentum, and the cash out was $53.
Okay.
And I was like, look, if anybody could score goals in bunches and make this game go to overtime, which, by the way, the game got to 3-2, and Colorado was knocking on the door of doing it. It was like the Avalanche would. I'm not going to waste this. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to take my money because of $4. So I cashed out.
Yeah.
25 to win 54. I'll take it.
Ghost Dog's pick tonight. I think we're doing this kind of little switch off thing. So Ghost Dog wants us to go Carolina -1.5. It's going to be +115. So that's what we will do with the dog of the day. Before we go, I do want to remind you about the Peak Playoff giveaway here. We went to Twin Peaks last Friday. I had a great time, a phenomenal establishment, really big, a ton of different TVs, all the games that you could ever imagine. Really cold beer, by the way, at Twin Peaks. Like perfectly cold beer at Twin Peaks. Also, you go to Twin Peaks, have that billionaire bacon. Some of the best bacon I've had in quite a while. I had that billionaire bacon burger. It was to die for. If you enter online at 1620thezone.com for the Peak Playoffs giveaway, you can enter to win a $250 Twin Peaks gift card. I'm going to tell you, it's worth it to enter in and potentially get that gift card, because the value you can get off of that thing. I had 2 cold beers and a beautiful burger, and you could probably get about 8 or 9 of those different combos. You get that $250 gift card. So well worth it indeed. Go and enter at 1620thezone.com. All right, that was Middays with Matt. USC and the crossover coming up next here onto the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.